All right. And we are both live, power induced. Welcome to The Last Word, episode number 51. And it's another glorious Friday night. We're back in front of the campfire for some great looter shooter discussion. I'm extremely excited about our special guest, so we're going to get right into it. I want to introduce a Lord who's been one of the most consistent and passionate content creators within our entire Destiny community. Whether it be his detailed game guides, weapon DPS testing, and the owner of the most expressive reactions you will ever witness or live stream. Introducing the host of the Skarrow 9 YouTube channel and member of the Legion of Xur Destiny clan, the recently minted Rivensbane, and the Lord of all mother chickens everywhere. Kind enough to make his debut within the realm of TLW. My man, Lord Skarrow 9. How you doing, sir?
Dude, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm doing very well.
It pretty much puts a giant smile on your face, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I don't have a face cam right now, but I'm...
You're pretty much bright red.
Talk about those reactions. Whew, like, goodness gracious, man.
Absolute pleasure to have you, man. We're all
Thank
huge
you.
fans. We've been talking to you for a while, and it's good to have you. But how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing really well, and it's great to be here for sure. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Bontis, I'm worried about him, man. How's he doing? We should be asking him. How's he doing?
Oh, man. So let's see. Had to orchestrate a day. Internet dies on me, so that switched things around. Not knowing if it's ever going to come back. Literally get home from dinner. I get the call like from internet provider saying, hey, it should be back up. Get home. My modem's showing green. My router looks like it got shot because it's just like 2 red lights and nothing else. So then I go literally 25-foot like direct cord from the modem to my computer and it's working. So crazy day, but we are here now. So thank you all for showing up tonight, and thank you, Skarrow, for jumping in.
Anything I can do, man.
I was like, well, a short notice. I reached out, like the schedule switched, and it knew I wanted to try and get you in here. And yeah, short notice. Cognito likes to have some time for his intros, but I didn't give him enough, but he still crushes it as always. He did that to me the first time I was on ILP, and I was just like, dude, I can't talk now because I can't follow that.
It's all good, man. We gotta pay respect to those in the community, man. We gotta respect, man. And Scout's been doing for a while, and I mean, obviously, brief history lesson. He was kind enough to let us utilize the name as well. And definitely want to shout him out for that, because that's huge respect. You know what I'm saying? And this guy's been killing it, with the guides and everything he's doing. And I caught actually one of his latest reaction videos to the Drifter. And I was like, oh, he's hype. He's in the same space I'm at. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And no problem about the name. We did it for a long time, but, it came time to pass it on to new people. And you guys are doing it justice. And
thank you,
heck yeah. Good stuff.
Much appreciated.
Well, thank you very much. That was kind of one of those. Yeah, we were digging deep, and they were trying to figure out the title and everything. I had Cognito wring my neck over it and stuff like that. And then literally the first thing, and I know you and I both know Pyro Skarrow.
Yeah.
We literally went out, and I finally went live with the name, and he tweeted me. He was like, dude. And I was like, oh, God, how did I miss that? And we just hadn't gone back as far. So that was literally, I reached out to you as soon as I could. I was like, hey, and you couldn't have been nicer, man. So I was like, I wanted to get you on here. You sounded like you definitely wanted to get a little podcast in when you can. So we're really excited to have you in, and glad we could make it work.
For sure.
Al Jr. says he thinks No Time to Explain would have been lit.
That's actually what the demo for The Last Word was called, No Time to Explain. And then I thought that was too hard to design a logo for, so I went to The Last Word.
Nice.
So there you go.
We went through a lot of that stuff too. Actually, we were Flashpoint, which worked pretty well for Destiny, and it was short and sweet. And then all of a sudden we were like, what would you find a clan or something with that name?
Yeah, actually there was an esports league, and we're like,
okay,
yeah. I had no idea, and it was brought to my attention, and I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna have to change that. And then we thought I did a research, and we're like, oh man. And then thankfully, man, you were so cool, and Ebon just reached out to you, and you guys talked, and because I was really banking on this one. I was like, oh man, I really like this one.
I already had all the decals designed and stuff. I was
ready to go, and I'm like, not again. And then you were like, oh, dude, Skarrow's so cool. It's cool, and to give us the mantle and let us use the legacy. It's really appreciative, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for carrying it on. Like I said, but you guys are doing it justice, and just keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going on.
Absolutely, man. What's going on?
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah, so
what's happening?
So in case you guys have been living under a rock or just felt like not, paying attention to the world of Destiny, Season of the Drifter has exploded with the Vidoc, the articles. There's so much stuff coming. We've got a ton of stuff to talk about, including shout out to Hoglaw in your chat right now in ILP. He had a great virtual legality today. So if you guys haven't checked him out, it's HOEG Law. Cognito turned me on to him, and it was a great listen today talking about the basically the Bungie Activision stuff. A little more detail today. So we'll get into that even later if we even have time. I have no idea how long this thing is going to be. We used to call this Flashpoint. This one is definitely going to be #Longpoint. So but Season of the Drifter, the Vidoc dropped. We know about the different pieces of it. So without too much further ado, we're going to jump into it.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
So Season of the Drifter is a thing. So March 5th, it starts. We all know that. And every player, Season of the Drifter will begin. You've got different stuff for all the people without the annual pass, and then even more for people with the annual pass. The annual pass is the big stuff, so we are going to start there. Now, we're not going to go through the full Vidoc. We've got a lot of pieces to talk about, which we're going to cover the main bullet points on it, but playing a video, you guys can watch that on your own. But we're going to start and kind of go through this with the calendar first. And just as we hit a high point, we're going to kind of break down our discussions on it. So calendar will be on screen for a little bit for the Season of the Drifter, and then we'll kind of hit each piece as we go. First thing, Gambit Prime. I just want to get your guys' initial impressions on this whole new mode.
Let's start with Skarrow, man, because he had the great reaction, so I want to hear.
So I was in a really weird place for this DLC because when I was grinding for Dredgen, I did it before the triple infamy and all that. I was sick of it. And so I was going into this DLC thinking like, oh, I'm not going to like this at all. And as soon as I saw those glowing armor sets, I was like, oh, Bungie has brought the bacon. Like I knew they were confident. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. And then as they started talking about the roles and just everything, man, it's going to breathe so much life into Gambit and the entire kind of community around it. And the fact that it's like a fast-paced one-round type of game mode, it's competitive. I'm just so excited. It looks rewarding. It looks like a lot of fun. And to pull a player like me who was kind of sick of Gambit, like I said, I never wanted to touch it again, into someone who's foaming at the mouth for it, Bungie has done a fantastic job. I'm really excited.
Yeah, man. I mean, I couldn't say it better than Skarrow himself. I mean, shout out to the dude in the chat and LP chat. He actually made a good point. I was listening to those guys over there at Tower Talk, and it almost felt like the evolution of like how Trials was to standard Crucible. It's kind of that evolution for Gambit, and I'm just loving the specified roles, and it was definitely a surprise. I came in very low expectation coming in with the Drifter, and I know we're going to get deeper. We're going to dive deep into all the different things that are consist of this content, but man, like this was not what I expected, and we're going to get into the 9. I want to talk about that. I got a lot to say about that, and that surprised me, but yeah, man, like. Just on the mode itself and the specified roles really change Gambit. And one last thing I'll say is the urgency of the one round. That definitely is going to turn it up a notch. So yeah, I'm hyped, man. I am hyped. This is definitely a pleasant surprise. So let's get it, man. What you think, E?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like the way both you guys were, especially you, Skarrow. Like you played a lot recently. I played some towards the beginning. And I think a lot of us had our fill of Gambit. We'd gotten used to it. I think all of us had been hit by Queenbreaker enough. Halfway across. I mean, it's true. I mean, it's one of the things they're hitting in the sandbox. But it was just that feeling of, and either Miss 5000 or any of those people who and True Vanguard, when they go play in a vacuum with a set of weapons and it's not all the crazy stuff that can sometimes break the game, Gambit actually looks really fun. The trade back and forth, the invasions and all that stuff actually seems like kind of a fair balance. And then you have stuff where people, now they've played enough, they know the invasion spawns and things. Gambit was getting to a point where, especially if you go solo, it was brutal. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be any better solo, but it was the idea of so much orchestration to where the boss melting in 3 seconds was just not fun. So the mechanics coming in sound amazing. armor sets. I cannot tell you how many times I've actually literally said those two words.
I thought about you, bro. I could only see your face when they mentioned armor set with specific perks for rolls. I'm
Like,
just like, you might as well be in heaven right now.
And
this is the type of stuff that I'm like, I've been waiting for. So absolutely. Sorry, go ahead, Skarrow.
Sorry. So just with the armor sets, one thing that I was talking about yesterday is, in addition to bringing that in, I think it's a really great way to introduce more parity into it, because the way it seems, and I might be wrong here, but each armor set seems to only have one perk that activates whenever you are wearing the entire set. So that means, if that's true, that's a lot of speculation based on the fact that we got the perks that they provide those buffs, and there's only one of them. So if that's true, that means that you're going to have to either pick an exotic or to get that bonus perk as well, or like one or the other, right? And I think that'll introduce a lot more even playing field, making it a lot less focused on these kind of broken exotics like Shards of Galanor and Celestial Nighthawk and things like that. And I think that'll be really good for the mode in terms of competitiveness as well.
Absolutely. There's so much and what I like about it, what they've done with this is that they've truly analyzed how Gambit has been played, right? And you can tell with how these roles are constructed that they really look at, okay, there are guys that come in and all they want to do is invade, or there's guys that want to sit there and all they want to do is just rush to the moats as soon as, you know what I'm saying, the match starts and stuff like that, and guys that want to defend. It just so I love the analyzation of the mode and truly giving these roles and benefiting people who want to do those roles. And we'll get into the reckoning and all that stuff as well too. But it's really good on Bungie's part. I got to give credit when credit is due. Like, I did not expect this deep dive. To be honest, I thought it would be something simplistic. I didn't think, Season of Drift, I knew it would be some form of change in Gambit, but not to this level. So kudos to them. Yeah, this is definitely pleasant surprise.
Absolutely. I mean, the other piece for me has been the fact that you've got just a little stuff about the colors. If you're playing with people on your team and they're wearing a full white or a full, what is the invader set, the full red, and you're like, you know what? Go ahead. If you want to be the invader, but if that's like that, like non-communication communication, like where you not voice chat or say anything, you just look at that person and be like, hey, they're going to invade. They've spent the time. They got the full set. Let's see how they do. And let them go. If somebody's got the full collector, I might pull a little farther back and actually give them that role. So it's those little subtle hints to randoms that I think actually could help even randoms be more successful if they actually pay attention to it. But if somebody's wearing full white and they're the collector, I'm going to back off and let you kind of get in the mix a little more and play your role. And that's actually really, really cool.
Real quick. No. What are you guys leaning towards? For you, each of you personally, like what, Skarrow? What are you leaning towards?
Okay, look, I'm the resident dick of my team. I like to Queen Breaker it up, so definitely that invader, man.
All right, so the inside joke on the fire, shout out to Fire Team chat. They had a great stream with Deej and Lars and another Bungie dev. I forgot her name, and she called them like the red. They call them invader pants, and I almost passed out. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I did. It was hilarious.
Well, you can have, because they were asking if you can mix and match, and he was like, "Well, you can have your red invader pants," and they just wouldn't let the invader pants thing go. So Skarrow's got his invader pants.
Heck yeah, that's me. That's me.
Yeah. So, what about you, Cognito?
Oh, you know what's funny? Shout out to Hogue Law. He's like, right now, is there a killer role, like a guy that shoots enemy? Yes, and I believe, is that the Sentry? I believe.
No, the Sentry's the one at the bank.
Sentry's the one at the bank, and then there's one that's kind of a stool role. What, I forget his name now.
Hold on, let me jump. Let me switch pages.
Yeah.
There.
Slayer.
So the Reaper is what you're looking for. Clears waves, slay large enemies. That's the one you're thinking of.
Like I'm the guy that when I'm maintaining that area, but I'm more so to take care of everyone else's, blockers that they put up. So when the blockers come,
wait, are you holding bank or clearing enemies?
I'm clearing enemies more so.
Okay, so there's two different ones. They like the Reaper, clear waves, slay larger enemies. Sentry is counter invaders and protect your bank.
I do a little Sentry action, but I think I'm more of a Reaper. I think, because you know what it is, and I like to hoard the heavy. So the Reaper's me. Like I'm the dude that they get mad at because I'm next to the power brick as soon as it's ready to spawn. Because
me too, man.
Yeah, that's me.
Thunderlord, I'm gonna go put some work in on the other side.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
you are actually one who could potentially go half green, half yellow. And that's what I was
yes.
going to actually clarify for Skarrow, since
Yeah, he missed
there
it.
there
Yeah,
is
I
the
haven't watched it yet.
yeah, it's like absolutely, and they dove deep on Fire Team chat, so it was nice. They said you can go split. Now the full complete color glow crazy, that's if you go full set, and there's a pinnacle perk that you can get. Like, so
Yes.
there's a pinnacle perk that you get by wearing them all, but if you go half Sentry, half Reaper, you might be kind of a mix or like a hybrid, and it's still possible. You just may not glow as much, but the color will be there. But just like the chroma glow from D1 won't be quite as vibrant.
Okay. And you don't get the major perk for that.
Yeah,
either,
so
right?
I don't know. I know, for example, one of the really high cool perks, like the collector. There's the collector. I don't know if it's a pinnacle or not, but you can hold 20 motes, and you can basically summon a. I joked on Twitter. It was like big booty blocker, but it was but it was like a giant blocker. And she said jumbo blocker, and they're like it's giant blocker, and she's like either way, like the extra one that nobody else gets to. So I don't know if that would be pinnacle, but it sounds like it would be.
I think they would be. That does sound like a definitely good one. I think I tweeted all 4 of them earlier today. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, they just sound crazy for sure. And that's so exciting. And think if we get like stuff like this for raids in the future and whatnot, like
that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. Now we're talking.
That's the evolution. That's what we wanted. That's what we thought we were going to get when when Destiny 2 launched, and we thought we were going to get more evolution of specific roles that help with specific modes. I just want to answer a quick question because whole Law had about colorblind modes, and yes, they are being addressed within this. We're going to get into that when we get to the 12, but yeah, they definitely thought about that as far as colorblind accessibility.
Absolutely did. And shout out to Bungie again, hitting stuff like that I don't even think of. So
incredible.
That's amazing.
Always very good accessibility in their games. Anyways, we'll get back to this page. Don't worry. But yeah, Gambit Prime is. Who wants to break it down? Skarrow or Cognito, when you guys want to break down the actual mode? I know we've been like ranting and raving about our excitement about it, but what is it?
Skarrow, break it down, man.
All right, so Gambit Prime is like if you took Trials, the sweatiness of Trials, and the sweatiness of Gambit, and you made them have a baby, and you just took the most concentrated one-round form of Gambit, where it's just 4v4 with specific roles. Everyone can pick these armor sets that you get through the Reckoning, which we'll probably go over here in a second. And they give you these extra perks, and they'll help you fit into your role a little bit more. But there's some changes based off of the general gameplay of regular Gambit. So for instance, the Invader can now steal motes from the other side. Like I mentioned, there's only one round, and that plays a big role into it as well. And then the boss has raid-like mechanics where you have to work with your team to really take down that boss as quickly as possible. So it's not just like who has 3 storm color warlocks anymore, right?
Who got the Geomags?
Who's got the Geomags? Who has the Shards of Galanor? No, it's going to be more like, hey, we need to which mechanic did we get this time, assuming there's different mechanics for the 2 different maps, maybe not, and how do we conquer this to really get the edge on the other team? And it essentially, the way I'm looking at it, it's Gambit, but instead of more it's a little bit more PvE focused than regular Gambit. I kind of am leaning towards that. Might not be true in the final build, we'll have to see. But it definitely seems like they're leaning more towards the hardcore PvE on this one, with a very important PvP aspect as well. That's going to be more reliant on a single person or maybe 2 people if you build your team like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
man, it's really exciting. I love the aspect of the mechanics of a boss, like you said, like something where it just doesn't come down to melt fast strategies, kind of thing. You're gonna have to work together. Again, everyone's got specific roles, and then the cool thing is you have the options. They showed it on stream, like. There's going to be some teams that are just going to be like all invaders.
Yeah, that's terrifying, by the way.
and the cool part is just, like you said, one of the cool things again, that before the match started, you see the other team, you get to face almost like a fighter's face off. So you're going to get to, okay, wow, they got, 2 sentries, they got a Reaper, they got, and it's just going to have this whole little meta within the game, and it's just really, really cool. And again, I just want to emphasize again that one round, right?
One round, yep.
One round, because one of the biggest complaints, about Gambit, as much as we loved it, and I got a chance to debut the role at E3 last year. Shout out to Sean Finnegan. Salute him. I'm supposed to give a shout out. He's moved on from Fire Team chat. Great guy. that was who I actually got a chance to play Gambit with for the first time, you know, when they revealed it early. And we were like, this is great. The only negative was just that the matches tend to go long, right? If it's a 3 match, and now we know they've made changes. I believe the last where we did last week, that they talked about standard Gambit now 3rd round will be boom, you know, just the primeval spawn and you just go, right?
Yep.
But
yeah, just a sudden death, basically.
Right. But still, in general, the mode tends to take long. When I'm doing my milestones for the week, I'm like, man, these Gambit matches 3. Okay. You know, it's take a while.
That can take like 20 minutes. I mean, that's a long time for anything. Just especially if you lose, if you're going for Infamy, you spend like 20 minutes and like a 2-round, go for 3, maybe one of them's long, and you lose, you're like, oh.
Yeah,
it's kind of defeating.
Yeah. Now, the real question is there going to be a Meatball 2.0 for Gambit Prime?
Yes.
I honestly think there's going to be a few of those.
On the stream. They mentioned that.
Goodness gracious, dang it! I should have.
Yeah,
it's good.
Let's fill you in. You're going to just be hyped up all night long. We're just going to keep filling your head.
This is so exciting.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Stephen Ryu and those guys. They asked specifically, you know, because of the fact that, you know, Meatball was kind of specific to Gambit. You know, they said actually as a result of Gambit Prime, there will be more of a chance for it to spawn there for people who have missed it. And then
but just the regular Meatball though.
That they didn't get specific. Did they say?
Okay, so they clarified the Ascendant Primeval Meatball
yes.
is going to be an even spawn for regular Gambit, like literally just in there along with anything else. So you'll see it a lot, which will be good. But Gambit Prime, the bosses are going to be, all of them are going to have more mechanics to them, they state. I don't know if they're different bosses, if the Meatball is one of them, but they all said there's more mechanics, and they didn't say raid-like kind of stuff, but there's definitely more mechanics to them. I forget the actual terminology, but they definitely mentioned more mechanics, a little bit of a puzzle, figuring out, trying to take these guys down. It's just not melting it, which sounds exactly like what they needed to do.
Absolutely, man. It's just so cool. I cannot wait. Oh, so much to talk about. Then we even get to the reckoning. We got stuff to talk about, man.
I know. But I was like, hey, I warned everybody up front. It's gonna be a minute.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gambit Prime, 1 round, 1 boss. Now this one is 100 motes. So it's not 75, so it's definitely more. Now the other thing that they talked about in this one is you can lose motes.
Yes.
Your bank can actually start lowering, and in the podcast they clarified if you have more than, I think it's if you have 2 blockers up, you can start losing losing motes out of your bank. So if more than 1 is up, you can definitely be in trouble. So that's where having that collector drop that jumbo, and then if you throw a couple goblins in there and they got that shield thing going on, that's going to be trouble. So and then on top of the collector being, I don't know if it's the collector or Invader maybe being able to also sound like they could help like steal motes from the bank as well.
Yeah, the Invader can steal. I think his super or his super perk or whatever actually allows him to count as a blocker. And so when you're in there, you count. If there's another blocker, you're helping speed up the rate that they're stealing the motes.
The cool part about this is that as an invader, you can have a dual strategy. There's no more just I'm going to go kill guardians, right? Like now you can just hang out.
That's it.
Don't see you're evil, because that's all I was like, all I'm scared of is like these Titan bubbles in full force. Like I'm worried about the fun police, man.
And now teams can't hide in the back of the map, because if they do, you're just gonna sit on the bank.
Because that was my strategy, Sparrow. Like I would, as soon as I see Invader, I'm like, where's the nearest tree? Let me hide. Let me pull out, you know, where they at, you know, kind of thing, and then kind of hang out. I can no longer do that because from my understanding, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Just their mere presence with that perk as a blocker is now draining motes.
Yep.
I think so. Yeah, if there would be one more there.
If there's one more blocker on the field, yeah.
Yeah. So if they had one more blocker on the field and that strategy, that destroys my whole gameplay loop. I have to come out of hiding. I have to go get you. This is gonna be fun.
But it also seems like a different change for the Invader to not keep running into spawn camping. You're honestly more incentivized to actually sit on the bank and hold that thing down. So there's a lot of different play. You could just honestly, if you're a good sniper and people are like worried about hiding, and there's a couple, you know, blockers sitting on there, you just being in there for 30 seconds is now pulling back like those motes, which is All you just your presence alone can do stuff. Depending.
I'm
on
already devising some warlock strategies against you, E. I'm already.
No.
I got some. I already got some mental warfare going. I think what I'm gonna have to do with you Titans.
Oh, we're gonna need a well radiance on the left side and the right side. And
there's gonna be a lot of well radiance.
We're gonna need our own Titan bubble, like right in the middle, so we can't enter it.
I am running
Izanagi's burden and still shoot your head off.
Oh,
I'm running point lock, man. I'm running.
Those are fighting words.
Cataclysm and Skull, bro. I gotta stop you guys from hanging out.
And I was like, and I'm hoping that this will bring Gambit back.
I think so.
Because like for all of the excitement that we're all talking about right now is the exact opposite of how I felt lately. I'm like, I haven't looked at my Gambit 3 matches for the week. I'm like, I was like, and now I'm like, this could be fun. And I'm just hoping they have, and I'm my 2 things. One, I hope if people find stuff that is broken, they're fast enough to change it, not the usual 3-month cadence or whatever it is. And 2, I just hope it lives halfway up to the hype of this, and then it'll be fun.
Yep. Agreed.
Absolutely. This is good stuff, man. Let's get into this stuff. Let's get into the rest.
So what happens when you finish a Gambit Prime match? So while you're going through Gambit, you're going to be picking up, doing different things, whether you finish the match as a victory, or they said there's other things that might do it as well. You get something called synths. And those are going to allow you to go into the Reckoning. So the Reckoning is Cognito or Skarrow. I'm going to pass it off to one of you guys.
Yeah, like this is cool, man. First off, let me give Skarrow some full disclosure. I'm a big Osiris fanboy, right? So when Trials of the Nine was introduced, I wasn't the biggest fan from a lore-wise because I felt it should have been Osiris's event. But to see them to see the lore utilized in this fashion and this reckoning where you kind of go within the Drifter ship, I believe. Now, they still have to explain the connection on how it almost looks like the Trials map. You know what I'm saying? But they have to explain that. I don't understand. We're in the ship, but we're in, kind of the Nines area, but whatever. And it's like this insane, it almost feels like Horde mode meets Escalation Protocol with just mad, and a little bit of Crota's Raid, right? With just pure waves and mechanic. And then on top of that, they're throwing a timer mechanic, right?
Yep.
So the tension, the difficulty, they're going to tear this thing out along a couple of weeks. And from my understanding, the way the gameplay loop works is that as you complete that, that's what gets you that gear to then go back into Gambit to be able to utilize those roles and stuff. So it's like, playing Gambit Prime, going into the Reckoning, going back and forth, and there's this gameplay loop of that. So this is very interesting. I wanted to know, Sky, like, what's your feeling when you saw this whole Reckoning deal?
So I just want to start off by saying, like, you must be excited for this because the first thing I think that you mentioned last week in your show was that you were dying to find out what was inside the Drifter's ship. And it was like the first thing they showed us. So that's pretty funny. But I would look, when they showed the Drifter talking to the Nine, I was just, what? You can't do that. Like, that's not how this works
right now. Yeah, seriously, I was real lost. But really.
So I guess they're pulling some curveballs on us. I don't know how that makes, because I was all dead set, like, oh, the Drifter's a bad guy. Let's be on his team initially, but we're gonna get him or whatever. Yeah. And then they throw on the Nine, and it's like, oh man, we can't really screw with him. But in terms of like the Reckoning as a game mode, I'm excited. I've got a lot of really high hopes for this, and especially with the 3 different tiers. And I'm hoping that there's some rewards that they haven't showed us yet. So we know that there's obviously these armor sets that come from Reckoning, all the Gambit Prime armor sets. But I'm hoping that there's some kind of like top tier end game ish ones, like cosmetics, like a Ghost or Sparrow or something that maybe that would traditionally be associated with like a title or something. Maybe there's going to be a quote unquote Petra's Run version of Reckoning tier 3 or something. I think that would be really cool. The one thing that's really gonna make or break Reckoning for me is how do they really differentiate it from the Haunted Forest and Festival of the Lost? They seem to have very, very similar kind of ideas behind them. The difference is being the Reckoning looks a lot more fast paced. That could just be a little bit of kind of marketing magic or something.
Editing does wonders. We know that.
Yeah. But it just, if I'm excited for it. It looks fast paced. They did exactly compared to the Lanterns part of Kurta's Kurta's End, excuse me. And so, I mean, that makes me really excited. I have to wait. We haven't seen as much about this, so I don't know exactly how to feel about it just yet, I guess. So,
where are you at with this whole thing with the Reckoning?
Well, for one, this is one of those things when Bungie's like, hey, because we were talking even last week, I'm like, where's our information? I know it's going to be close to. We're going to get our information later. It's probably just going to be some Gambit stuff. And then, bam, a completely new PvE Horde mode. I was like, and once again, give me something to think about. So that alone, at least, was a nice step because nobody had a clue this thing was coming. Not Gambit related, completely separate, nice little loop to tie in. It's match made. All 3 tiers are, which is good. I like the idea of when they hit the Crota's Raid Horde mode Abyss section. That was one thing that has me happy because the feeling of that mode is exactly how a Hive raid should have felt. Like that's the way that started. And I was like, that's exactly how that would go. You invade a Hive base. Guess what? 6,000 Thrall come at you. Good luck. Like that's how that would go. And this looks like stuff spawning out of the walls, constantly flying at you, bigger stuff behind. And if it's just like a mad rush, and that's like kind of when you talked about Haunted Forest was kind of a worry as well. But from what I'm seeing, I'm hoping it's not the sections and the demons that you have to knock out, that it's just this either constant wave or stream and you're trying to get to the bosses where it's a more continuous thing, not these like chunks where it's just like a bigger, longer thing. So I don't know how long do you guys think a Reckoning round would be? I'm trying to figure out how long this thing actually would be.
Oh man. If it's that fast paced, you got to imagine a round can't go for more than 10 minutes, right? Like there comes a point where there's going to be like the return on action to fun is very asymptotal. Like it'll level off eventually. Man, I don't know. That's an excellent question, actually. How long was Lanterns, would you say? Probably a 5 to 7 minute encounter without cheeses.
Probably so.
Yeah, so somewhere around there. I think that's a pretty safe bet. Maybe, tier 3 might be a little bit more crazy than that. It depends if they had like checkpoints and stuff. It seems like it's a, tier 1 you're supposed to do in one sitting. Right. So yeah, 5 to 7 minutes, maybe a little bit longer in higher tiers.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, because like you said, there's that point, there's that sweet spot that they have to hit. And yeah, man, I mean, it is so interesting to me to see how that part is handled, and they're definitely linking these modes. They want that gameplay loop to be, you go into the Reckoning, you come back to Gambit Prime. So yeah, I would say like that, 5 to 7 minute mark should be kind of the sweet spot. And, because anything too long, then it becomes, we're getting into like, okay, is this, we're going to be doing like a, strike or something like that. Like
we turned it into a mini raid, be like, hold on.
It's just like Shattered Throne now.
Protect me. I got to wipe the sweat off my hands real quick. I can't touch my controller anymore.
20 minutes later, my heart is just beating on my chest. Like, guys, I cannot do this.
And one last thing is, again, back to the lore. For me personally, like, this is my hope, is I'm the biggest Osiris fanboy. My hope is, even though Osiris, they made this statement and they said Trials is not coming back within any type of near future, which saddened me. I went on a crazy rant, Skarrow. Like, you don't even want to know about the rant. I was in my feelings that week on the last one. But, what this gives me hope is that he could come back, whether it be D3 or whatever, because they are clearly associating her, the chick with the one sock that I will not name.
The emissary. I had to look it up. I was like, what the hell's her name?
One sock.
Yeah, okay, so you said one sock. I was actually looking at the picture trying to figure out. I was like, I saw it and I'm like, what the hell is going on with this whole one sock thing? Because you weren't wrong. See? And I was honestly trying to figure out, but no, I was like, here's the picture I've got. So it actually doesn't look like a sock. It looks like her foot had like frostbite. Like she actually has toes down here. So I don't understand what's going on with it.
I'm like, I was going to the embassy when I played Trials. I'm like, what's with this one sock bit? I'm not feeling this chick. And I'm like, where is Osiris? I don't want to talk to you. Oh man, don't get me started. I'll go on another
one sock. That's awesome. I can't believe I've never noticed that before.
I really didn't pay that much attention because I only did Trials like twice.
Oh, one sock. Beautiful.
But anyway, long story short, all jokes aside, like I love that they're tying this to him. Like Skarrow said, maybe the Drifter isn't this evil, like this master plan going on. And then we've also seen her during what's it, Curse Week, right? She was in the
Mars, throne.
Yeah. So it's a lot going on with this, and I just like her over there. Stay in Gambit. Get out of my trial. I loved it. And then now we're getting March.
Hashtag my trials. Oh my God.
My trial. Like then March 15th, we get her again. Invitations of the night. Yes, separate away. You know what I'm saying? So give my man a chance to get his redemption, his glorious DLC the way it was supposed to be. I'm getting hyped for that aspect too, man. So this is ringing personal narrative bells for me.
Oh my God.
I'm ridiculous.
So basically on March 5th, when all this stuff goes down, we're going to get Gambit Prime and Reckoning Tier 1. And we're going to get Gambit Prime map, New Arcadia. So we've got the map, which I believe New Arcadia is the Mars one. Is that right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
That
sounds about right.
Good call. Yeah, because the Titan one's on March 12th.
Yeah, Titan. I remember that one name.
Yeah. So it is Mars. Yeah.
Okay, so those two come first, and Tier 1 they said is going to be, I guess, like maybe I don't know if that's going to be like your class item in your boots, but they said you're not going to be able to get the full set of Gambit Prime armor until Tier 3 comes out. So I don't know if you get some pieces as you go, if you're kind of building up to get to Tier 3. I'm not sure how the level, the slow release of this is actually going to come out, because we've got March 5th Tier 1, March 8th is Tier 2, a couple other things we'll talk about in a second, and then March 15th is Tier 3, so even a week later, so it's the following Friday for Tier 3. So I don't actually know what the distinction between those are going to be, how the armor pieces are going to come back. Like, it sounds like on Reckoning Tier 1, like during this first couple of days, you're not going to be able to get a full set of armor unless I'm crazy. Does that sound right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
I mean, it makes sense as well if they follow the same type of thing that they were doing with Black Armory, which I'm totally for, by the way, kind of leading us along like that. It would be a good way to keep us doing that. And, to kind of add to the replayability, make it so we kind of have to farm for these, because they seem like they're going to be pretty static rolls. So this is something you guys can clarify for me. Do you get one piece of armor that you can apply any of the 4 rolls to, like the Gambit rolls?
Okay, you want me to take it?
Yeah, you take it, because I'll tell you what I remember afterwards.
So basically what they said is you're going to get synths of a specific type. So you're going to get like a Sentry synth, and then you take it into the Reckoning. You try and make it all the way to the end, and you put it in this little portable bank, they said. And then if you finish that Reckoning, I don't know which tier is going to get you the armor, but if you run in with the Reaper synth, then if you finish it, then you have a chance to get that Reaper armor. So you actually pick which one you want to try for when you go for your Reckoning run.
But they are 4 individual armor sets.
There's 4 sets, correct?
Yeah. So I mean, that makes sense.
It's going to be, so literally that's 12 sets with 3 characters. That's
and so if that first week they only give us, let's say they follow the traditional order that they set up for us in Escalation, where it goes class item, boots, arms, chest, and then helmet. Every week, that, like you said, that's 6 pieces of armor to farm for every week until the 3rd one. No, oh my gosh, it's even more than that. It's 12 per week. Oh my goodness, yeah. So yeah,
it's amazing. We got to clarify something on perks. I got a question for you guys. The way they made it seem, again, correct me if I'm wrong, was that the perk set, they almost like you can pick a path as far as for the, like I said, certain Gambit armors on certain perks. Is that confirmed, or is that true?
So basically the way they stated is because you'll have you'll want to wear an exotic somewhere in there. Everybody's going to want to wear one. And they said there's a way to either, I don't know if it's put a synth into something or buff something up a little bit more. It sounded like you could still have your full pinnacle perk and still wear an exotic with some combination of these elements or synths or something.
Right. Because my understanding is that because they say, like you said, there's going to be people who hey, I want to wear an exotic. If I break up the set, so to speak, do I lose, the perk functionality? And the vibe I got was that the perks operate outside let's just say, for example, I don't know, I'm just making up theoretically, like it was in the consumable section or some separate section that once you acquired the gear and you pick the perks, it's in this section as opposed to on the gear that if you take off the chest piece or whatever, that you lose a perk. That was the way I understood it. But is that how you got it, E? Like, how did you guys get it?
So I think you would have to equip them to actually get like the benefits. And it sounds like if you did split too much, like you know, if you went half Reaper, half Sentry, you couldn't get the Pinnacle perk. But it sounded like if you had 4, you still could get the Pinnacle and maybe use one exotic. So it's going to take a pretty decent set. But my guess would be you're probably going to have to equip them since everybody's wearing them. I don't think you're going to have like this, you know, synth stat or something like that. Now there may be a stat somewhere. Maybe they change the UI or something like that, and you'll actually be able to see like unlocking perk trees or something like that. I don't know for like Gambit, but I do think you're going to probably have to have them equipped to even have a chance to do that. I'm just not sure how the extra benefit from something works with an exotic.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to get clarity on that. Yeah, man, this is exciting. This is really cool stuff, man. I'm loving them finally tackling armor with the same level of detail and intensity that they're so good at with weapons, right? And weapon perks. And we've always felt, I mean, Ebontis is, I feel the man is on the island, man. He's been championing this thing for so long. Armor sets, man. And,
now if we can just get our exotic armor catalysts.
Oh my God. You preach into the choir here, man.
Preach to the choir. Trust me, we definitely are in the same boat, man. So this is cool. Again, pleasant surprise. Didn't expect much from this, and this is really cool direction.
Agreed.
So Gambit Prime map 2, Deep 6, that one is going to be on Titan, and that thing looked like it had conveyor belts on it. Do you guys see that in the video?
Yes,
like
it did.
Like
so it was kind of like the old school Mario Kart map where one side would be going backwards and one side would be going forwards, except this was left and right. And I feel like that's going to be mainly a problem if you're strafing away from the bank to get away from an invader or something. It's really going to throw off your aim. I think that's going to be a very interesting dynamic. And another thing is, how does that interact with stuff in the map? Like if traditionally things like ammo blocks and stuff, they kind of like sit above those sort of moving environments. But if they made moats on those conveyor belts go around, I think that would be a really kind of cool little extra detail that could be really cool as well.
Yeah, but I don't know if the enemies would move with the conveyor belts.
That's another thing as well. Yeah, just have, man. If you were worried about invaders, you could straight up have a strategy where you kind of use solar grenades to push like an ogre on the outside conveyor belt and just have them like rotate around the center arena.
Yo, the visual on that is hilarious, bro.
That'd be awesome.
Pro strats. I'm copyrighting that. That's mine.
There you go.
Skarrow 9 said it first, right here.
Right here. I called it.
8:58 p.m. March 1st, all yours. So yeah, we've got a new map then, which seems apparently by our thoughts of just the moving conveyor belts should be interesting. And then we've got the Reckoning Tier 3 on March 15th. I'm skipping one thing. You guys know why, because it's a pretty big different topic.
Yep.
March 19th, we've got Legion's Folly. That one looks like it's all over. Where would that one be? So I guess the 2 new maps are going to be New Arcadia and then Deep 6.
Yeah.
And Legion's Folly and Emerald Coast look like the 2 old maps.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so you got the one on Nessus and then the one obviously on EDZ. So we'll have 4 Gambit Prime maps, but 2 are brand new, of course. So that's pretty cool. And then all maps available on the April 2nd. Private matches will be available for Gambit Prime as well. Now, what do you think about a private match for Gambit Prime?
I mean,
or Gambit, either one. Like, do you find any incentive in that? Would you even just go around in there like solo one by yourself just to see how it goes? Like
Wish 15.
Solo flawless Gambit Prime.
Yeah, I mean, the way they broke it down on stream was they actually said that, you know, they said you could actually do it solo. They said, I don't know how invading would feel because if nobody else but they mentioned that on stream. I mean, listen, Gambit's a fun mode. At the end of the day, you know, if you want to get a couple streamers together and, you know, do that stuff with just a bunch of your butts, listen, the option is there. As far as Prime, the way they explained it on stream, Skarrow, was kind of like, they want to keep some newness to Prime, so they're not going to have the private match of functionality available initially. because they want it to feel new. They want it to feel special, especially those new maps. So it will eventually, you know, get into there. What's funny is I'm not the biggest private match guy, even though I respect the feature. I'm not that I don't want it there. So it's probably not something I'm utilizing. But again, fun if a couple streamers want to get together and say, hey man, you know, our squad. And the cool thing they did mention though is the stuff that you had issue with, which they talked about was tweaking.
You repeat me to it, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm reading your mind. Okay. It's Cheetah the Ninja. We on the same. That's how we do. So it's like, you know, the thing is, I thought about you, man, because it was just like literally everything you've been saying about how you feel, you know, the invader could be tweaked. He's a little bit too, you know, a little too extra, so to speak. So I'm gonna give it to you because I know that's something that definitely was on your mind. How did you feel when you heard that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the type of stuff that I don't know if people are going to try that or if it's going to get used that much. Because again, what I would prefer, and this is actually closer to it because you can change some of that stuff up. Private matches is one thing, and that's why I don't really care about Crucible. If they ever in Destiny 3 put in custom games, then we're going to start talking about some things because that's what they're kind of teasing with the private matches for Gambit Prime is you can turn off the invader vision or turn down the number of like high value targets that we're running around. Little tweaks like that are actually going to change the feeling of the mode. And I would just love to see even more depth on that is basically what I'm going for. But just the fact that those are there seems kind of cool. Would I probably use it outside of being like, hey, I just want to see what it's like to shoot stuff, or if you want to test, you know, damage numbers on game, like, you know, in primevals and stuff like that, you could do that type of stuff. But I mean, honestly, I don't have a giant group of friends that I'm going to go run like, hey, let's go, you know, Gambit tournament or something. I don't have that group.
So. Either, yeah, I'm just saying. What about you, Skarrow? Are you like a private match guy? Like, how does that interest you?
So, not traditionally. In Destiny 1, we used to get a bunch of friends together and just mess around and sort of private matches, but it's never been, it's more of like drought content, in my opinion. What I think Bungie was going for here, and I think it's a really smart move, is if I think they realize if anything in Destiny is balanced enough to hit that esports scene, it's Gambit Prime, Gambit or Gambit Prime. And adding these additional rules, this is a classic Call of Duty move, being able to change certain mechanics on the maps and of the game mode and that sort of thing. I think this was kind of a hard bank by them to try to gain more of that traction, which they should. That's a very smart idea. And if it can even get a fraction of the competitive scene that Trials had back in Destiny 1, that'll be huge for the game, which of course I want to happen. So I'm glad this is in the game, especially with like Rockstar doing the Gambit competition earlier in the year. And I think Lucky and Buttwipe ended up winning that. And that sort of thing. And so that already has some notoriety to it. So if they can keep pushing it and maybe trying to get some of that scene in there, I'm happy for it. And I think, you know, I'm not probably going to utilize it, but I think it's a fantastic move for sure.
Absolutely. Side note, Spartan Hunter that asked, who are we all picking for the Allegiance quest?
I hadn't got there yet.
Okay. He's ready. He's chomping.
Understood. So, Gambit Prime Reckoning, two huge pillars of Season of the Drifter. Honestly, sound really cool. Like, definitely cool loop, armor sets, very nice tease. And then towards the later part of the Vidoc, there's a quest coming.
That certain quest we talked about.
And guess what? It's the gun that everybody loves to hate. Thorn's back. It's no shock to anyone, obviously. And they said the Thorn quest starts. So potentially over time, do you guys think? Time gated type situation?
Oh yeah, it seems like a weekly thing for sure, I think.
Absolutely. I would assume so. I mean, when Last Word, you know, they kind of brought it out at a certain time periods in a cadence. I wouldn't be surprised. If they kind of put it in what's that exotic they kind of did like that. It was in Warmind. It was the Polaris. They might go that route. But again, they have to be careful because the community has been very vocal about time gating. So I gotta see, you know, how they handle it. But let's get to the gritty, man. Thorn, the infamous Thorn. You know what I'm saying? So they asked on stream, Skarrow, you know, I believe, shout out to Stephen Ryu. I believe he asked, because he's a huge Thorn fan, right? He's like, will I be able to 2-tap and walk away?
Oh no.
And they would not either confirm or did not?
Oh, that's so no.
I don't want to throw them under the bus, but I'm just saying that again. I know there's a lot they want to hold on to, so there's a chance it may not. But they were very reluctant to answer. So listen, this is a very polarizing weapon. We all know the history of the thorn, and it's fun, exciting on one part, but then there's the other part that's like of me that thinks, okay,
makes your stomach churn.
Yeah, like what's the new this wears off? If it's D1 potency thorn, ooh, the sword will be lit in the crucible. Skarrow, help me out, man. What you think, man?
Man, we have too many good hand cannons, okay?
I was gonna say that. Okay, I'm like, is there another class of weapon in this game?
This is why I got excited when people started realizing that the thorns that they were using in the Last Word quest were scout rifles. I was like, oh, I'm all for that. Man, okay, as in terms of like in all reality, I don't know. I think Bungie's learned a lot since Vanilla Destiny. You know, it obviously took like 9 months to balance, and that was the worst. I mean, it was the best, but it was the worst kind of thing. It was a very raw feeling crucible. So I don't know, man. I know I'm dreading. I really want to be excited about it, but I know the moment I hop into Crucible and I see just this dart fly across the room, hit me in the face, and my screen starts flashing green, I'm just gonna turn off my Xbox. Like it's like this like PTSD. Get this out of here.
Now, what about the main things too? We have to understand, right? The obvious thing is the damage over time.
Yeah, the dot.
Yeah,
yep.
Yes.
Dot, and then it was a two, because I remember when they nerfed it, and the two things they talked about it in the sandbox team was again DOT and the fact that it pulled you from the fight, you weren't able to regenerate health, as well as the enemy knowing your position based on the DOT, and your screen going, green.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just all these things. So again, like Skarrow said, one would think that in this new Crucible meta, that Bungie has to come up with something. If they're going to bring this thing back, because it's kind of, I don't want to say it's like icebreaker level broken, but it's definitely up there. It's something you have to be very careful. So I wonder how they tackle it. I'm so curious, because in my opinion, you cannot bring D1 potency thorn. Like, to me, that it would get real disgusting quick.
How's Thunderlord feel right now?
But that's a great weapon in PvE. Right? I'm not saying that PvP.
It's not terrible in PvP either.
I don't feel people are running around like, damn, all these Thunderlords is out here.
Well, I mean, that's not the only thing to use, but I have to say I love using it. So
yeah, I love it too. It's a fantastic weapon.
But yeah, it's like, well, okay, here's the other thing though. If you have this level of like love, hate, diversity over it, but it is an iconic weapon, it can't come back weak sauce either.
I agree with that. It has to compete with Luna's, but it can't destroy the game mode, And I agree. I mean, they brought back there's some weapon. I was ready. They brought back a weapon for Destiny 1, and it was nowhere near as good. I'll just use Jade Rabbit, even though I hated that thing in Destiny 1 too. Yeah. But I mean, Jade Rabbit, I think before the last patch, especially, to me, and I got a lot of hate for this, but it was by far the worst exotic weapon in Destiny 2. And I think that's a classic case of you can't bring back an exotic. He's exactly right. And it'd be underpowered, because what's the point of bringing it back at all? Like, especially something this iconic. So as much as I hate to say it, it has to be powerful. It has to compete with Luna's. But oh my goodness, like
be careful what you ask for.
I know.
Because here's the thing. Shout out to Lord Zero in the chat. He says thorn equals cancer. Go to chat and let Jay Fonzarelli, what's going on, bro? Yeah, I mean, you guys are right. In the sense that if you're gonna bring this back and you're making a quest, this gun cannot be trash. This gun cannot be mediocre, right? But I just feel it has to function different. Like it has to, if you're going to give the dot and that type of effect, maybe you make it some type of a skill weapon, with headshots or something, but 2 body shots walk away, bro. Like, ooh.
Make it more focused on range to counteract the Last Word, because they're supposed to be kind of like opposites.
Good point,
so make it a slowest fire right hand cannon, still give it the dot, but make it max range or something close to it. That way it has an edge over the Lunas, over the last word. But that way, because it's a slow rate of fire, you still have the ability to balance that out from a sandbox perspective. That's my insight. I'm not a game designer, though.
No. You're talking sandbox. I get excited. No, I like that. So what you're saying is, well, Thorn is almost the epitome. I mean, Thorn. Last word is the epitome of the rundown weapon. Like, I'm going to run you down. If you're in close range, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You pretty much got. Where you're saying Thorn is that opposite, where I keep my distance. You know what I'm saying? Maybe make the rate of fire slower. You know what I'm saying? But you have that. Yeah, that's interesting. It'd be interesting. And it would make sense lore wise, right? Because we know that's the counter gun, you know what I'm saying, to each other, kind of a deal. So what do you think, E? Like, how do you think they handle, man?
I don't know. I'm literally it's going to be a delicate line. I mean, I'm with Skarrow. It's like, it can't be trash. Otherwise, you literally, like, it's sacrilege to the lore, to this giant hype up they had with Last Word, the little cinematic, all those pieces. It's going to have some build. You can't go through like a long quest line and get this thing and be like, well, this sucks. It's not going to happen. You can't get the final weapon and be like, this is terrible. It's just not going to happen. Now, my curiosity,
rabbit.
No, definitely not. That is a terrible, terrible weapon. But I'm honestly curious about the lore, because you have this dude talking to the Drifter when they're sitting at the table back and forth, like playing Drifter poker, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
This dude with like the weird hunter mask holding Last Word, and everybody's like, who the hell's this guy?
Was that not the Guardian? You think they're trying to set up some Shin?
What's his name again? It was originally labeled as the Stranger, but they changed it.
It's the Shadow.
The Shadow.
Now, the only reason I know that, shout out to some of you guys on Twitter, sometimes when new releases or content comes out for Destiny, they'll release a like art pack. And Deej tweeted out, for those who want content creators, you can download the pack. And you've got NPCs. You've got the Drifter, the Emissary, and the other one is the Shadow. That's this guy. So he actually is an NPC. So there's either going to be some lore, some discussion with this dude. I don't know if he's going to talk, but him and the Drifter are sitting across from each other at a table. So something's going on.
See, that's really interesting, because it could be an NPC. But what I just noticed, and I that's very possible. And, Shadow fits into the Shadows of Yours and stuff. But what I just noticed is, like, every piece of armor he's wearing looks like a piece of armor we can get, which traditionally isn't what an NPC wears, you know?
See, that's why I thought initially it was our character, right?
I thought, I did too. I thought it was a Guardian.
Interesting.
But the name fits in with, being, like I said, the Shadows of Yore, and he clearly said that he's not a Yore anymore. He said that to the Emissary of the Nine. So it makes sense if he's coming back to hunt him down, or either way you look at it, it could make sense.
Educate me, lore guys.
You might want to call Bife. Hold on.
Yeah, I know. Let's get Mylan Games in here. Like, where's Shin Malphur in all this? Wait, I'm confused.
He retired in the quest that we went on.
Okay. So he
he gave us the last word, and he was like, I'm out. Long story short.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just curious with that. Okay. So now, and then what's this whole Shadow guy's deal? What's his business?
Well, I don't know if anybody knows.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah.
He's brand new.
Do we have any inklings that he's an enemy of the Drifter? Like, where we?
I mean, he's pointing a gun at him, so I would,
probably not completely on good terms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is very interesting to me. Shout out to Zero. He said, "Yeah, Shin Malphur had enough."
He's like, "I'm out. Here you go. Take over my mantle. Have fun.
Take it." He's like, "I've killed enough people. It's your turn." Okay, Shin.
Wow, good stuff, man. It's gonna be interesting, man.
For sure.
It'll be interesting.
So yeah, giant divisive quest and gun. We will see how that one pairs out. But I always enjoyed Thorn a lot more than Last Word. So you may hate me, but I suck with Last Word. So if I got to use one of them, it's gonna be Thorn.
Hitting the easy button, ain't you? Hitting the easy.
Oh yeah, hitting the easy button. Huh?
That's with you.
The other thing that happens on the same day, we get the beginning of our Allegiance quest. Now, they cover the Allegiance quest a little farther once we get to the Season of the Drifter page. Or no, that's actually on the TWAB. Right here. So the Allegiance quest, previously forecast as the Joker's Wild weekly quest, will invite you to choose between, and we're going to answer your question if you're still here, Hunter.
Yes,
between the Vanguard and the Drifter. Pick a side to progress through the quest from their perspective. The pledge is character based. So if you have more than one character, you can play both sides. But if you only have one, choose wisely. I guess so. Here's the question. Where are you guys going?
Man, dude, well, here's the question. Who's not picking Drifter first?
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, I don't pick anything but Drifter. Like,
that's where the story's gonna be, right? Like that's the interesting stuff. I have 3 characters. I think most or all of us probably do. I'll definitely swing by, and since it's a weekly quest, you can do the Drifter side and then immediately do the Vanguard side week per week. But come on, Drifter has to be the first side you do.
Hold on, Zero. What you mean you Vanguard all the way? Wait a minute. How dare you? Like after the whole thing with Kate and nah.
Man, Kate's dead. Let it go.
Listen, we ain't letting go Zavala's reaction. You know what I'm saying? Or non-action. You know what I'm saying? Zero loyalty can't be bought. Oh my! Listen, man. I don't know. Someone said block. Yo, they going crazy over here.
Wow. Okay. Well, the Renegade seems cooler. I also don't trust him, but that's where the fun story is going to be. Something's going to go wrong. He gets a gun pointed at him at some point, so can't be too bad. So let's see. Let's pick the Drifter first, see what happens, and then circle back around for the boring story.
Exactly. It'll be interesting, man. Let's see. I'm curious. Is anyone doing the Vanguard? I gotta know.
I mean, your entire chat is.
Who's doing it, man? Let's get these chats up. Who is doing the Vanguard? That's what I need to know.
I don't see anybody doing Vanguard. So
who are these people?
I don't know. I was like, I mean, I'm gonna do both.
Yeah.
But I was like, part of me is like my PvE type guy and stuff like that. I thought about leaning Vanguard until you said the Zavala thing. I'm like, yeah, I gotta go Drifter first.
Not forget.
No, believe me. I was like, I'll talk to Zavala, see what's going on. But yeah, second character, I'm just gonna do both. So I mean, it's not that big a deal for most of us. And honestly, with we can talk about this now as well. The bounties for the character boost. So if you only do have one character, now is literally wait till this comes out, the best time to get a second character up so you can see the other side because he's going to have bounties and you can get to 640 in like a couple hours.
Praise Osiris. Let me get this one.
That's crazy.
So what do you guys think about these power surge bounties?
Oh, this is what I'm with. Like, this is perfect because, again, like Skarrow, like I literally made the transition from Xbox to PC.
Okay.
And literally I made it right before the launch of Black Armory.
Oh,
right. No. So put yourself in my position. Like I've all this time, me and E do a podcast together. We want to play Destiny together. I'm like, yes, I'm there. He spec'd out a crazy rig for me. I put the money down. I'm here. And then day one, I'm like, damn, I can't even touch that content. Like,
I don't feel bad. I was leveled and I couldn't touch it day one either because it was so freaking difficult.
Yeah, but bro, it was so crazy. And it just like, and I'm seeing him struggle, and he's already at max light at the time, for the DLC and stuff like that. And then we all know the infamous stealth nerf of well, not stealth nerf, but initial nerf of
one day nerf.
The 1 day nerf of the Forge, because we all admit the onboarding with Black Armory was terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like it just wasn't accessible to the masses. And you had this content there that, a good chunk of the base, post Forsaken still couldn't touch. So to see this kind of stuff, and again, according to the stream, the way they said you can knock this out in like an hour or two. They just want you to do varied activities.
That's what I'm
saying? It's like a public event or two, like a couple bounties. That's 2 pieces of 640 gear. Like a strike can kill 50 enemies. That's 2 pieces of gear. That's like, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes, and that's half your stuff. Like, it's going to go quick.
This is what I'm talking about. Because, again, the problem Destiny, in my opinion, always has is because of the DLCs. There's people that the hardcore are going to be so far ahead. And I have friends that'll see a new content from Destiny, like, man, that looks cool. Can't wait to grab it. But then day one, they can't even play with us, right? So this is cool. Because here's the thing, E. I got Lord Atticus coming. He's getting his PC next week. Nice. Sinister's coming. He's got his PC already. You know what I'm saying? Like they're hyped for Drifter. So when I try to get them to play now, and they're like, dude, I'm not trying to do all those quests again. I'm not trying to, power level all the way up again. Like they were willing to buy a Spark of Light if Bungie offered it. Remember Spark of Light? That you just pay for it, and then you're like you're maxed at the level of the DLC. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But yeah, man. So this is cool. This is so much needed. Great response, in my opinion, to Black Armory and the feedback that they received. And I just can't wait because my friends will actually be able to play the Drifter, you know what I'm saying, Web Season of Drifter with me. And I'm excited. But what do you guys think?
Skarrow?
So, yeah.
He's like, yep, next.
Yeah, all of that. I mean, you pretty much hit it perfectly. I'm not, you couldn't pay me to transition to anything after I don't even like checking my time on Destiny 2. It's kind of gross if you ask me, like, too much time. But I just couldn't even imagine losing all of that. But for people who do, or people who, took a break, because I know Black Armory was very end game farmy, and people, a lot of people might not like that. Some people might be more of the sort of what this expansion is going for, where it's more do this activity a couple of times and get your power rather than do it over and over and over and over and over again to get this piece of loot or whatever. So some people might have checked out, and this is a great way to get them back into it. But yeah, this is Bungie being confident, and that is something I love to see.
Absolutely. Real quick, I just got to pay the bills real quick. Shout out to Lord Philip Carlisle. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Hey, everyone. Shout out to the realm. My thoughts for Gambit. They need a spectator mode where you can bet Glimmer or Shards on different teams. What do y'all think?
Oh, that's actually really cool.
That'd be a fun tournament thing to do for sure.
Good way to get match work course.
Oh, yeah. There should be that. Yeah, too. Yeah, man. But this is cool. This is to be honest, like low key, like the power surge, that was the highlight of one of the biggest highlights of the DLC for me. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. Like I was so excited to see that. I couldn't believe that they were gonna address that. So I'm pumped, man. I'm bringing some PC boys through, man. So we gonna have a crew.
Yeah, I was like, honestly, it gives the people, if you're like, hey, pick up Destiny, you're like, oh, I don't want to grind. Well, you do these like 8 bounties, you'll be right next to me. Oh, it makes you, especially like if you can get the Forsaken collection. The only question is, I don't know if these are for everyone or if they're for annual pass or not. I'm hoping they're for everybody, which would be a smart way to do it. It's the only thing I haven't seen clarification, or I may have missed it. I just don't know.
Good question.
Never mind. It's literally right here. I thought I read it.
Well,
for annual pass holders, the rest of Season of the Drifter packs and new combat specialties to embrace the new challenges. Like Season of the Forge, the journey will roll out over time, but the Drifter has plenty of action for players to experience. If you think your power is low and you want to get caught up to the rest of the community, see the Drifter to complete his new power surge bounties. They're enough to bring you up to 640 power.
So it is in the annual pass section there, but it's almost like in a positive.
It's gotta be for everybody
from it. Yeah, because the light increase is for everyone. That's really weird where they put that, because that's very ambiguous. I agree.
Yeah. So it's like, I just want clarification. If they're smart about it, it's going to be for everybody, because everybody gets up to 700 anyway. And if I'm going to go play a Gambit match and you're going to want to have a chance in PvP, you're going to want to be at least 640, because these people are about to be 700. So that's going to go fast. But yeah, if they're for everybody, then, they crushed it. That's the only piece I got. That was the only thing I saw. Yeah, so those are actually going to be really cool. Nice way to jump up and see what the heck is going on. So before we get to some of the everybody stuff, we got one more thing to talk about. Invitations of the Nine.
Woo!
So how much have you seen about this one, Skarrow?
So I know you get something and then you take it to Xur, or well, it starts as Xur and then you do it and then he gives you another bounty and that's what I got. And, and he gives you a one-time quest. That I know that too.
Yeah, so Invitations of the Nine, once upon a time referred to as the Xur bounties, which is at least they're going to give Xur something to do on his little tree posts and hangar platforms and stuff like that, will be an exploration of the Nine and the mysterious place in the universe. The path begins with Xur on Friday, March 15th. I'm literally out of time, so I'm going to lug my computer up where I'm going, which sucks, but yeah. Yeah, 2 dogs, 1 computer, and a partridge in a pear tree. Annual pass owners will be able to pick up an invitation of the 9 from Xur. Once the objectives are completed, it will be transformed into a bounty called Into the Unknown. These will be available to complete once per character, similar to the bounties you get at the beginning of Forsaken, for completing an activity with a full gear set. So just as if you had to go finish a strike with a full Vanguard set.
Yep.
Week over week for 9 weeks, you'll collect new lore and powerful rewards.
So the important thing for me here is, we can do the Queen's Throne over and over again, week after week, and get that new lore every 3 weeks or whatever. But the rewards aren't exclusive to that. So the only reason we have to do it is for the lore. I would really like for there to be an armor set exclusive to this where you have to complete these bounties and you get it. And I don't care if they just repurpose the Trials of the 9 armor set. I mean, hell, the Trials of the 9 season 2 armor set is my favorite armor set of all time, especially for the Titan. It's beautiful with the ornaments. So if we could get those back through this, give me incentive to do them is what I'm saying. War is awesome. That's great. But if you're offering powerful rewards, make sure they matter. That's what I got. Yeah.
Cognito, what about you, sir?
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, we definitely talked about it. Again, this was known as the the Xur bounty kind of thing, and we all feel that he really had no function outside of me being a noob on PC and looking forward to him every week because I had no exotics coming over. He really doesn't have any functionality for the hardcore. So yeah, let's put him to use. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with that. I'm in agreement with Skarrow with what he said in reference to the gear set and stuff like that. I want to reserve judgment only until I see this kind of stuff. I want to see it. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. I mean, it sounds cool, but unfortunately, Xur doesn't have the greatest reputation with me with things that they've done with him in the past. He's been through so many iterations. They've tried so many things, Nightfall stuff, and the poor guy just needs a legit job that is worthwhile. So
hashtag get Xur a job.
Get Xur a job, man. Make him useful. So. We'll see. In theory, it sounds good. I do like the connection with the 9. I love that stuff. I love him separate. I love 9 separated from my child. So this is all good, And we'll see, man. I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm open-minded.
Yeah. Oh, shout out to Said Fred in chat, by the way. Welcome again. Nice. Twitch Prime sub for 5 months. Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated. Welcome to the evening. Yeah, me too as well. We've got Xur having something to do. I mean, as I'm literally giving Zero a hard time in your chat. He's up there. He's like, those leaves and Nessus don't pluck themselves. I'm like, yeah, Xur's up there literally trimming trees right now. That is what's going on.
How y'all gonna call him the gardener, the tree trimmer?
He stands in his little tree on Nessus, and I go up there, stand on the tree, talk to him, getting shot by Vex down on the ground. Yeah. He's just sitting there like, I can get shot. How come he can't get shot? Apparently, he's got tentacle face. He can't even get damaged anyway. He's we don't know what he is, but honestly, if he's an agent of the 9 and we get to know more about the 9, this has been 5 years in the making, and finally we get to know more about where he comes from. Finally, so. I still want to know why she looks like she's the emissary of the 9. He is an agent of the 9. We still don't know what the hell the 9 are. So, because she looks very different than Tentacle Face, and they're still not related to them. So, maybe we'll get to see a little bit more. Who knows? Still very curious. Still probably not the Space Doritos. That's probably D3.
We got a while.
So, yeah. In case you haven't realized, we've been unpacking a lot of stuff here, but there's more. So we have something called Arc Week. Now, before I say anything, because I'll put my video out there, I'm sure you did yours as well. I want to get Cognito first and then Skarrow. I want your guys' ideas. What the hell this is?
I don't know how. I literally, you asking the wrong person. I literally don't know what this is. I was like, we all just gonna whip out Thunderlords and what is it? I don't know what this is. Arc Week. Like I'm not trying to be I just don't know what it is. So I'm trying to be. Help me, Skarrow. I don't know, man.
This is really difficult because where's Solar Week? Where's Void Week? Why Arc specifically? What does this mean? I literally asked that
question to Deej. So
like why are we Solar Week shaming?
It's just so odd because maybe all Arc weapons do more damage. Wait, but then you think about heroic strikes and daily story missions. Once every 3 weeks, that already happens, or it actually is on the daily rotation now. it's
The Singe lasts for a week.
okay. Yeah. So they still do then. Okay, cool. Yeah. So they're on a weekly rotation anyways. So this thing has to be something special. You can't, can you just celebrate a type of light? Like that's so what is happening? Are you going to be walking around the tower and you're randomly going to get just like obliterated by lightning, or like what's going to happen here? What is this? I don't know. I hope it's really cool. I hope it's, there's so many cool, I don't want to get too excited, but it has to be something cool. Can we get like an arc or a effect if we do something during this week? Does this count as a live event? Are there going to be exclusive triumphs? Is this just like a weird, I don't want to draw too many comparisons, but maybe this is like Destiny's mini version of a Cataclysm from Anthem, or something like something odd has to happen for them to draw it this much focus. My biggest fear is it's going to be something really dumb. I'm really hoping it's crazy though.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
Arc Singe everywhere, and you go into a raid and you have a Singe. I'm like, but I'm with you. I'm like, what are you doing? For one, that was the first thing I tweeted out to either Deej or Cosmo or Dylan. One of those, I was like, okay, so first off, what is this? And two, what is it? Where is Solar and Void Week? Like, why are those not on the table? First off, either they're going to be in the next season and this is like a trial of something weird, but also I'm like, okay, as you said, we have it on. You can put a Singe on a Nightfall. Okay. You can go Arc on the 3-week rotation. So what are you missing? Like Gambit and Raids and Crucible? I mean, if you're just going to have Arc do more damage everywhere, it's just everybody's going to use Arc weapons for a week, but it still seems very, very weird. I don't understand.
It has to be something more than that. So I was thinking modifiers first as well, but why?
It seems kind of useless.
It has.
I don't know. I mean,
it has to be something.
Like there's almost feel like it's like Arc Weapon Appreciation Week. Like everyone's gonna have like the coil out, this Thunderlord. Like it's just so strange. It's very strange. And I just want to backtrack to one thing that we haven't seen on this list. I know we still got one more to go for April 16th, but I was a little surprised. Maybe not too much that it wouldn't be in the Drifter, but what do you guys feel about Faction Rally? Like where are we at with that? Like what's going on? Like, we know it's not completely eliminated, like how,
I was like, shout out to Lord King. Currently it's in the bushes on fire. I really don't know, honestly, because Faction Rallies, and they also haven't mentioned the Catalyst with Faction Rallies.
Yeah, like can I get ever the the Graviton Lance Catalyst? Such
maybe that's what Arc Week is. Maybe we get all the catalysts for all of our exotics that have arc burns.
Maybe.
I'm trying to think outside the box. I know there's a 0% chance that happens, but it has to be something creative like that. It's just so weird. It's just random.
So random and weird. I completely agree. I'm now like, very excited to know what the hell it is, but I'm also tempering expectation, because when I see free to all players, again, I'm like, how cool is it really gonna be? You know what I'm saying? So again, tempering expectation. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, if they just electrify the tower, that'd be cool.
That'd be really cool.
It'd be a giant rave.
I'd be fine with that. Like I said, if there was a 1 in 100 chance that every time you took a step in PvE, you got just obliterated by a lightning bolt, I'd be fine with that. That.
Shout out to Anthem right there, by the way.
Yeah,
lightning strikes coming down, weather's going, you hear that, you're like, where is it? And you're like, crap, I just got smashed.
Hold on, right? Zero has some theories. He's like, okay, what if there's going to be a new live event with a special weapon as a reward, and that element changes? So maybe a solar week down the road and so on. Like, let's say there's a really neat Arc exotic that's new, and it's available during this week through a special quest or something.
Are they going to really limit an exotic for? That's not like a very Bungie thing, though. You know.
I hear what you're saying. It's interesting. It's interesting. You guys got me so curious now. Like, what the hell is this thing?
For all we know, this could be the returning of Faction Rallies, and instead of just you farming randomly and stuff, it's which faction can get the most arc kills in a week. Like
that. Actually, I mean, It's the best theory I've heard between all of us yet.
The thing is, it could literally be everything. What if Arc Week is a celebration of Arc, so you can't use it and you have to use everything but Arc for that week? You know, it could literally be anything. It's so odd.
Yeah, very much in the arbitrary space.
Yes,
to say the absolute least.
Absolutely.
And I love how they didn't even like talk about it anywhere, mention anything. It's just like it's
pop up out of nowhere.
That's that's what they were going for, though. It's a talking point for sure.
I'm like looking over stuff. I'm like, is it anywhere? Nope.
It's just so weird. I don't know. I'm excited for your Solar Week. You know, shout out the Solar Week. That's what I'm.
Shout out to your Celestial Nighthawks out there. Just
for real. Oh man.
Yeah, man.
And then to wrap it up, the Revelry, which is April 16th to May 6th, so I think 3 weeks is how long that'll be. Free to all players. I will say shout out to the art team, by the way, because they always have to come up with a new color scheme. And once again, they did, and it looks like its own thing. I don't know how they keep doing it. I feel like they would have run out of colors by now. But once again, they have its own thing. I can't quite tell too much of what this is going to be. There is one tease in the video of a dude wearing a jacket, and it says SRL on his jacket. And there's a lot of people wondering if it's even related to this or not. Well, he's wearing an SRL jacket. It could be an old one, and it may mean nothing. But I was like, don't wear the jacket in the video if you're not going to do anything with it.
We know it has something to do with the Infinite Forest, right? Like they already confirmed that.
Really?
Yeah, they said that we're going back. I think it's on this page right here.
Hold on. Osiris is perking. What do you say? Infinite Forest? Hold on.
Maybe try to look around this page. I believe it says, and the live event will even take us back into a familiar forest. And then if you look in the Vidoc while they're talking about it, they're clearly in the Infinite Forest.
I guess that I do remember that kind of in the Vidoc. I'm looking for.
I definitely read that. I don't know where it was.
I believe you, bro. Like you got. Oh, okay.
There we go. See.
Wait, I think was that it?
Where?
Go up a little bit. So let me go to this page myself. This might be a little bit less frustrating.
I was like, I try and zoom in as much as I can, but you probably can't see it all. So
let me here. Yeah, let me just jump there real quick. Let me try to find it. I believe I remember specifically reading that it will be in the Infinite Forest. I just don't know. Let me keep going. Gosh dang it. All right, let's keep talking, and if I find it, we'll come back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Reddit, and they're even like, it's a spring event, something like the Dawning, and somebody's like related to the Infinite Forest too. And I think just because you said that piece in the Vidoc, like,
here it is. It's the very, very first paragraph on the page you're on. The first spring event for Destiny will reveal a familiar forest in bloom with fresh loot.
Interesting.
And if you go in the Vidoc while they are wearing the armor, they are definitely in the Infinite Forest. Just real quick, will this program pick up my desktop noise, or is it?
Yeah, it's not the greatest with it, to be honest.
Okay, well, I'm trying to get it not to do that.
Oh yeah, you should be fine if I.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me know if you guys can hear this. I want to try to find the timestamp.
Scrub through the video.
Okay.
Yeah, let me know, and then I can pull it up.
I'll switch over to you as well. Just let me know.
Oh, I can pull it up.
So, yeah, I'll just tell them the timestamp.
Oh yeah, perfect. Sounds good.
But yeah, that pretty much covers the general calendar. And then we've got a few updates to just the overall calendar. Obviously, Season of the Forge is done. So for March and May, Season of the Drifter, Gambit private matches, power increase, new vanity rewards, new rank rewards, triumph book, exotic quest. Now, there's an exotic quest for everybody. There's an exotic quest with the annual pass. Which one do you guys think is Thorn?
Yeah, good question.
Annual pass is probably Thorn.
Yeah,
last word was annual pass, right?
Yeah, pay that money for that, dog.
Yeah,
gonna come up off that DLC cash. You gonna get that.
Timestamp 7:17 in the Vidoc.
All right, cool. Hold that thought.
There's a couple shots.
Yo, girl.
Yeah, so that's definitely
wait, not yet. Go right past that. The next one. There you go.
Yeah,
definitely the Infinite Forest, and they're wearing the armor sets, and this is where they're talking about it.
Yeah, so I mean, again, the color scheme looks like, I don't know, the blue, the yellow, the green. It's definitely its own color scheme.
Yeah.
So Revelry, and then that's literally it. They're like the Revelry, and then week 2 they talk about Thorn, but I can't tell if those are specific weapons to it.
I think those are the Gambit weapons.
Yeah, they look like that's Thorn up there in the top.
Yeah.
He's got like cloth padding here on his gun.
Mhm.
But yeah, definitely a spring event, whatever that is. But I think you are right. It's definitely somewhere in the Infinite Forest.
But that worries me though. Like, how similar is it going to be once again to the Haunted Forest? I've got a lot of faith in Bungie to make this their own thing, but it's the uncertainty in between that sometimes can play with your mind a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah, I'm just curious lore wise, like, what is that? What is the revelry? Like, what is this about? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm very curious with that. And they mess with Miles Cyrus, man. I don't want, coming back looking like he from Woodstock and, all this other stuff going on. No disrespect. I love my Egyptian garb, man. You know what I'm saying? Good. I gotta see, what I'm saying? I love that the assets are being used because we all, me and E have talked ad nauseum about how Mercury is underused, you know what I'm saying? And it's just a big roundabout you can't use Sparrow on. So yeah, let's see how the Infinite Forest goes, you know what I'm saying? And see what they do with it. I thought Horror Story was cool, the whole, when they did it for the event. What's the name of the event? I'm blanking on the name of it now.
Haunted Forest. Or Festival of the Lost, excuse me.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, you know what I'm saying? I had no problem with that. Nice little twist on it. But yeah, I'm very, very curious about this revelry thing. See, what does that whole thing mean?
Do you guys actually want to know what the word revelry means? This will make you laugh.
Break it down.
Lively and noisy festivities, especially when those involve drinking a large amount of alcohol.
Really?
That's the definition of revelry.
All right, let's go get smashed in the Infinite Forest, yo.
All right, boys.
Sounds like a spring event to me.
I want to buy the Drifter about 4 shots and get some stories. So you guys think Thorn will be annual pass? Then we've got an exotic quest that they've mentioned absolutely nothing about yet.
It's got to be. It has to be a new exotic. Give us new exotics.
I hope so. I really want new stuff. I'm kind of getting tired of old stuff.
Yep.
That Rose rumor.
Rose hand cannon. That might be the last season from what I heard from that leak a long time ago.
Man, enough with the hand cannons.
Thank you.
Where's my love for exotic pulses? We haven't had an exotic pulse or an exotic scout since vanilla, if I'm not mistaken.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Seriously, it's like there are other gun types, Bungie. Come on.
Wait a minute, you guys might be mad. Didn't we hear confirmation that Hawkmoon might be coming back?
Look, I don't give mine to many of these leaks.
I love Hawkmoon, so that's the one I'll be like.
It would be cool if they came back, but keep in mind there is that giant leak right before Season of the Forge where people said that Ada's name was Gaunt and she was a dude. So I take all of these with a giant grain of salt now.
True that.
And plus that same week said the Icebreaker's coming back, and the day that happens is the day I'm out of here. Never touching Crucible again.
Icebreaker.
So I don't put any retail in any of those. I'm hoping it's a new exotic Pulse or Scout, preferably Pulse, but we'll have to see. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. So Iron Banner, of course, will be there. Arc Week, we still don't have a freaking clue what that is. Revelry, Spring Event for Annual Pass, Invitations of the Nine, The Reckoning, Gambit Prime, its weapons and gear, private matches, and the Allegiance Quest. Now, I know we kind of saw this picture before, and they kind of talked about Joker's Wild, but how do you guys feel now having seen the full Vidoc, the farther deeper breakdown? How are you guys feeling about this season now?
I'm loving it.
You matter of fact, guys, Skarrow, what do you feel like? Where are you at?
Like I said, I'm the type of player that loves farming things over and over again. You mentioned my reactions. That's because I love sitting there doing the same thing, and then that reward of getting something after the 100th time, it is the greatest feeling in the world to me. So coming off Season of the Forge, I wasn't very excited for this season. However, now that I see all this stuff, it looks like so much fun. I'm equally as excited as I was for the Season of the Forge, which I think in itself is a huge accomplishment for Bungie. I'm very excited. I easily at 8 or 9 out of 10 of excitement for this season for sure.
Interesting. I definitely see why Anthem speaks to you for sure.
Yes.
You're going for that min-max and be like, I got the new hotness. Sweet. What about you, Cognito? How you feeling?
Initially, I'll be honest. When I saw the Vidoc, I was like, okay, because again, I came in to full disclosure, like Forge wasn't the greatest for me. You know what I'm saying? I told you about my onboarding issue. And then when I finally got to going and like still got to get his Anami done and stuff like that, I'm towards the tail end. But it wasn't terrible content. It was just a different approach from what I'm used to. Right. So, I thought I just was disappointed lore wise, especially. Right. My whole thing, remember we launched it and, it's like, oh yeah, go to this chick downstairs in the tower. That we're like, what?
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, speak to Spider, then this random person's in your basement and you go talk to them and it's all been there all this time. And okay, fine. But, so at the end of the day, I felt this is them kind of finding their way experimenting. Me and EE, we've talked about this, obviously, with the other games out right now, Division and Anthem, I'll be honest, like I had extreme low expectations coming in for the Drifter. I just initially thought it was going to be a Gambit mode here and there, one other thing. And the thing off the back that I like, that it seems to be some lore in this, right? And that to me is the hook. That's initially what hooked me. I'm like, okay, he's sitting there, he's talking to the shadow person, he's talking to the emissary of the Nine. Okay, what's going on? And then as we get more information, I'm like, okay, this is a little bit more meaty than I thought it was. Obviously we know there was no raid. You know what I'm saying? I knew no raid. That's another thing I was worried about. How hefty is this DLC going to be? So, now that we're starting to look at it, I think for me, what changed me in the direction of Skarrow with excitement is watching the stream he hasn't watched yet.
I'll get there. I'll get there. That'll push me up to
I'm not trying to shame you, bro. It was just so good. Like
no, for sure. I'm excited. You guys are getting me hyped for it.
Yeah, please, man. Those guys. Shout out to Destiny Gary. Those guys, CJ, and they had Deej on and Lars and crew. And when they broke it down, then I was getting excited. Because I didn't realize, the perk sets and the armor sets and the rolls,
and the raid pants.
Yeah, the invader pants.
The invader pants.
Yeah, man, like loving all that stuff. So I'm just like, okay, I'm more excited about the quality of life stuff and the lore actually more than the content. Don't get me wrong, Reckoning sounds dope. You know what I'm saying? Like Gambit Prime sounds amazing. All this stuff sounds cool, but I'm actually happy about the quality of life stuff and that and the power surge bounties and all that. So yeah, like this is a pleasant surprise for me. I'm still a little cautious because I want to see that once we start. Come on, we're all hardcore on this panel, right?
Yep.
Once we blaze out, because we all gonna blaze out. We're gonna hit the ground running. We're gonna be in that Gambit Prime.
We're still talking about gaming, right?
Yeah. It's the last word. I can have both of you. But yeah, man. You're hilarious. That was great.
You just set it up. I don't even do that stuff.
Yeah,
but
that was
just like you just set me up on that stuff.
So it's just like, yeah, man. Like I'm really curious just to see that gameplay loop, how long it sustains us, and this new way of handling content. So it went up. Right now I'm in the 7-8 range. I don't want to give it to 8 yet. I'm in that 7 range now. Before I came in as a 4 or 5, I'm up to a 7. And now I just got to play it. And then after we get, entrenched in it, then I'll give you, more of a feel. But what about you, E? Now that, the vidocs are here and information is starting to leak, where are you at with Season of the Drifter right now?
So I was like you. I mean, we both had been talking about it. I was like, in my head, and actually, sadly, I was hoping between Anthem and Division and everything else going on that Gambit would actually be kind of a tamer season.
Yes.
Mostly just because there's not enough time to do everything.
Yes.
Now I'm like, crap.
Yes.
Because for me, it's the Reckoning that actually has me the most appealed. Gambit, if I can find, Gambit for me is I've played enough solo and don't have a regular group where the solo playing Gambit is tough. But the Reckoning piece, the PvE, the Horde mode, and then like the Invitations quest, the Allegiance quests, those pieces, but the Reckoning Horde, I want to see what that loop feels like. That's the one that had, because that's the one thing on all of this we had no idea that was coming outside of Arc Week, which I still don't have a damn clue. But the Reckoning was their like ace up the sleeve that they dropped and said, oh, by the way, it's not just Gambit. And I was like, oh, okay, now you got me intrigued. That was the one that turned me to be like, that turned me up as well. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of like you. I'm like, I'm at about a 7 now. I want to see how the feel of the loop is. Like, how much Gambit do I have to play to go spend time in Reckoning? I know you can. I don't know if you can. They said you can stay in Reckoning as long as you want, but I don't know. You have to. If you have to have a sense to like start your queue, like you could. It sounds like you can spend 2 hours in there if you want to, like trying to get something to work or practicing or something like that. But I don't know, as you said, what the loop is like, how quick the sims come, what the grind is going to be like. Now, my only issue with this is that the armor you get in Reckoning doesn't help you in Reckoning.
Yep.
Yeah.
It helps you in Gambit, which is cool to go back and do that. But again, that set bonus and these sets don't help you anywhere else. You could wear the set all the time. You're still going to have your normal perks and stuff like that. But again, this is a tiny, tiny piece that we need more.
Right. Yeah, I mean, wow. Thank you, Philip Carter. He $5 super chat. He says, I think it's going to be something that we don't expect. It may not have anything to do with any arc related thing. Oh, he's talking about the
Arc Week.
Week. Okay, shout out Philip Carter. That's my guy right there, man. Good guy. Yeah, this is it's interesting, man. Like I said, I mean, I'm getting close to where Skarrow is. I'm getting close. You know what I'm saying? I just need to see. I need to play it. I need more because again, Season of the Forge. You said it best. It's with the other games being out, Anthem and Division. I already mentally in my mind assumed this is just going to be light, right? So Destiny is going to be a very casual thing at this point while I do the other two games. And then I'm like, damn it, Destiny.
Every time.
Like, this is like, I'm going to play this. So now I'm like, 3 looter shooters, here we go. Like, I'm gonna no life. I'm like literally gonna have no life. Like, this was it's a fun time as a Destiny fan, but as like any type of content creator, or you're just like, how am I gonna find the time to do
yup.
This is crazy. And I know we've been talking a long time. We got a little bit of show left for the other two. But yeah, man, like Destiny surprised me. I didn't expect. I'm like, this is gonna be light. We're gonna get 2 Gambit maps, and they're gonna call it a day. And get Thor. I knew Thorn was coming back, but I think we were gonna get this level of beef. I didn't think it was gonna be beefy. So we'll see. Shout out to Cali Rex. Warframe is better than Destiny and Anthem. Thank you for your contribution, sir. That's what I got, man. But
all right, guys. Yeah, so there's one more piece, and without saying too much on it, we have the final season, but I want Luke Smith to say this part because
oh baby, I'm so excited.
Okay, seriously, before I even say anything, a shout out to Skarrow. I need your face cam for that reaction, so we're gonna make that happen at some point. But the audio may not come through as well on ILP, but if you guys are watching on Twitch, I'm just gonna let this thing play, crank up the volume to max, and just listen to the words.
I don't know if we can hear anything.
Yeah, we getting none.
Oh, you guys can't hear anything. That is actually. Hold on.
I was like, let me give it a second. Maybe.
Hold on. No, I'll put it back. Hold on. Let me see if I can get you guys to.
Yeah, because you know how Hangouts is with that damn audio. It might be a Twitch exclusive.
Okay, fine. I'll tell you guys this. Go to the Vidoc and go to 750. We'll hit play at the same time. How's that?
Okay, 750. Give me 750.
Go for it.
Make sure everybody's ready.
Wait, 3. Wait, no, actually more than 3, 2.
Okay, I'll count it.
We're good.
Everybody ready?
Go for it.
Now I just want to make sure. I'm trying to see. Is my sound not coming out? They couldn't hear mine.
Yeah. Oh, they couldn't hear yours? At this point, we just might have to say the damn thing.
Anyway, okay, hold on. Yeah, giant anticlimactic start. 3, 2, 1, go.
You had to tell the ILP chat what happened. Don't worry, guys. We'll suffer in silence together. Slow frame rate, no sound. Don't you worry.
All right. So ILP, and that's one of those things we got to figure out for the podcast for you guys to actually just kind of get the same stream. So we'll work on that piece later. Luke Smith. I know, Skarrow, you're about to lose your mind, so say it.
It's hold R for now. Just go play some Gambit Prime. Dude, it's after. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited, guys. I'm so excited. This is going to be the best season of all time. Fact. It's there. You just can't. So I just mentioned how I love farming. The one thing I love more than farming is secrets. Okay. The reason my channel started to blow up was the Whisper of the Worm. I was one of the first fire teams. I think I was like, I don't want to, I hate making like broad statements like this. I think I was like the first person like actually streaming looking for it, because I was on Destiny subreddit, like the secrets, the second that post got posted. And I was like, oh, I got to do this. I love this thing. I've been a huge Call of Duty Zombies fan, like Easter eggs for the longest time. And this is what they're doing. And I am so excited. I am so incredibly excited. I'm about to lose my mind.
Break it down, E. My chat is like, what's going on?
So basically what we've got is Luke Smith talking about, for one, he dropped the name. That I didn't even expect, because of the season of the blank, redacted, whatever you want to call it, for the longest time. Season of Opulence. Now, once again, bringing up the joys of definitions. Opulence is great wealth or luxuriousness.
Hell
yeah.
Synonyms: luxuriousness, sumptuousness, lavishness, richness, luxury, luxuriant, splendor, magnificence, grandeur.
Yes, growth.
We're going back. We're going, and it's all in the Leviathan.
Yep.
Because I mean, that's what that is. Big boy is living the life of luxury. So, but one of my biggest takeaways was, for one, Luke Smith being in it, because he's always usually few and far between in these things. And two, he was saying, we're trying to figure out where we take this game. I forget the words because he just said them, but it was like, basically is now Bungie owns this thing.
Yeah, a Bungie controlled Destiny.
Bungie controlled Destiny. Yep. And it's like, and to see what that looks like. And then you have the teases from the other guys who talk about the thing after this, and they're like, wait, there's a thing after this, and all of those pieces were just the teases of stuff to come.
Oh yeah.
So Season of the Opulence, we've had the calendar out there for a while. Not a lot of changes. We know the 6-player match made activity is different than the raid, which will be cool. Solstice of Heroes, one more exotic quest for everybody. That stuff's going to be there. But from that video, looks like you've got the raid, which will be, of course, what everybody waits for. 6-player match made activity, which looks like they may have teased, but if it's all in the Leviathan, we'll see.
Right.
But what I want to know, Cognito, from you, and I think we kind of talked about it before, I want each of you just reactions from like what Luke Smith is talking about. What are your guys' feelings about the future after just his little soundbite at the end?
Yeah, I think I'm glad you mentioned that, because I caught that too. My eyebrows raised, and Luke's been on the front line, and especially during the whole transition between the Activision and Bungie split, and salute to him, because I was so proud of him when he, in theory, kind of stood up to Activision when the comments were, hey, we're not happy with the performance of Bungie's Destiny, and Luke Smith, he got on the front line, and it's not easy to do. Your boss is, that's your boss at one point. So he was just like, look, we are extremely proud of Forsaken, and I think it just really resonated with the hardcore base, the fans. And to see him come out, and again, we don't see him much, but to see him be a part of this vidoc and say a statement like, hey, I'm excited to see what a Bungie-led Destiny could be. Those are the words we need to hear, right? That's going to instill confidence in the base. That's going to get us all riled up. It's going to galvanize us, and we got the name drop, the Season of Opulence, the name sounds cool, and we need, we've talked about it before. We need closure with the Callus story. We need closure. We need to know what's going on, kind of thing. And then, even after the Season of the Opulence, right? That to me is even the more exciting time, because they're free from the shackles of the Activision release schedule. They have full creative control on what they want to do, and literally their own destiny. So at this point, it just comes down to it's exciting. It's exciting to see them have creative control, and I am very curious to see where this thing goes. And I'm going to bring this to Skarrow. I was going to say, me and Ebontis has had discussions.
I'm glad you're asking him this because I was literally about to.
Listen, the cheetah in the picture. That's how
we know where we're going.
Know each other's thoughts. And it's like, yeah, man, like I was gonna bring it to you because it's like the way I see it is, this is uncharted territory, right?
Yep.
So the question I have for you, Skarrow, and again, me and Bonds have debated back and forth. We have kind of different schools of thoughts on what should happen, but like from a Activision, less controlled Destiny to now Bungie full control, how do you think they should handle Destiny post Season of Opulence? Should they return to the normal schedule, the Activision schedule, so to speak, of a big content drop, almost a Comet level, Taken King level, Forsaken level DLC September-ish? Or that's kind of about what I was thinking. Or kind of do what E is thinking. What E is like, look, take your time. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. Like you can go away and then all guns are blazing for D3 maybe in 2020, So where are you at with the current state of Destiny as far as the future post Season of Opulence?
All right. So I like this question a lot. I had this discussion with a lot of people even before the Activision thing was announced, because obviously this year with the annual pass has been incredibly different and incredibly more consistent than any time in Destiny history. So I actually think it's a mix. So I think the Destiny 3 team, I think they're in hot, they're in the studio, they're working already. They're completely separate. They're doing whatever. If it was a perfect world for me, we get this is what I'm gonna make some assumptions here, and it needs to be understood that there's some assumptions. But what I want them to do in September, I'm assuming there's already a DLC in the works. I want it to be Forsaken size, and I want it to be about Savathun. I want it to wrap up that entire storyline. Then and start to tease the arrival of the Triangle ships and get that into gear for Destiny 3. I think that's going to be the main Destiny 3 storyline. Then I want an entire new year. So exactly what we have right now again. So another annual pass. I am an incredibly big fan of this. There hasn't, we've had one drought in Black Armory, and it was 2 weeks long. That is incredible. That is just unbelievable. That means that we went from Warmind all the way till 2 weeks ago with content every single week, or at least every other week, or something always to do, something to grind for. Or I did, because I grind for the titles and the triumphs, and I have every catalyst and that sort of thing. I'm a hardcore, I get everything kind of guy. I ran out of stuff to do 2 weeks ago. That's almost an entire year of content. That is incredible. I want them to continue on with this one big DLC annual pass thing. The only reason I really want one big DLC a year is because with the annual pass, we don't get enough story, I think, to justify some of the big people. If they would have tried to do the Dreaming City storyline, Riven, all that in an annual pass expansion like Black Armory or something, I don't think it would have done it justice. I don't think it'll do Triangle ships justice. I don't think it'll do Savathun justice. These big names, they need their own cinematic campaigns.
Preach.
Everything else, give me content. Give me more. I don't care about campaigns for Forge. I don't care about it for Drifter. Give me stories in terms of activities and these quests. Give me stuff to farm for. This is perfect. What we have here, one giant Comet-sized DLC in September, another year of annual pass, bring on Destiny 3, keep that same, assuming that there's still, because I know everyone's like, don't do Destiny 3, keep everything in Destiny 2. And I've already come to terms with the fact we're going to have to start over again. And assuming that we have to keep the same exact content rotation for Destiny 3, and I think if they keep one-upping themselves every year, I think the Destiny will go down in the history books for sure.
All right, I'm going to play devil's advocate because I know where he's thinking. Again, I think I know what he's thinking this time. I'm going to give you a counterpoint. What about, the whole thought process again? This is uncharted territory also, besides the fact they're free from Activision. There is serious competition out here, right? We're going to talk about Anthem. We all feel how we feel about it, but it's here, you know what I'm saying? And then, we have Division that's coming in March. And, I know it's not for everybody. I know it's a different kind of thing. It's not space magic. What I'm saying? I get it. But we have to admit that even with Division 1, with the failings towards the end, if you remember the first 3 months, the player base
plummeted, right?
Yeah, it plummeted. You know what I'm saying? And I remember that Destiny player base. I think it was right. I'm gonna say post Taken King is when Division 1 launched, maybe like in spring or something. And Destiny was still kind of finding itself because it was a long drought post Taken King. And Division came on like gangbusters. And I remember a lot of streamers and nearly 80% of my friend list, including Destiny players, leaving Destiny for Division. Now, we do know that they have a lot of content. We'll get into that, a little bit, as far as what's coming. The question is, on Play Devil's Advocate, because of the climate, it's this competitive space. Like, do you think it's okay for them to kind of like, after Opulence, cook and just all guns are blazing so that D3 is the best possible content it can be?
I don't think that would be a good move. I think what they're doing here, I think they're using Season of the Drifter purposely as a buffer. It's content that not everyone's going to be interested in. I think they put it here very strategically because they knew at least Anthem was coming out at this time. I don't know if at the time that they were developing it, if Division would have been announced yet. But I think this was purposely here as a buffer, and that's why they're hitting us hard with Opulence. I don't think they can afford another dry season like Taken King that nearly killed us. I understand, they need to develop the game. If they need to delay it another year, do it. But I think if we have a Forsaken size DLC, or hell, even like a Taken King, something smaller, I think that is necessary to bridge that gap, because, the only thing worse than responding poorly is not responding at all. So one really think, I was originally thinking Anthem was going to be huge competition. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that big now. Division, it's very centralized. It has a very polarized fan base. I think the thing that they really need to be worried about, especially with Gearbox confirming that they're going to PAX East this year, is Borderlands. The next Borderlands installment, I think, is going to be the only thing that can touch the Titan that is Destiny. They're going to take hitting, player base hits every now and again. That's the nature of a live game. They're going to come back the next big expansion. A game like Borderlands, I mean, people still play Borderlands 2 every day to this day, and it's 7 years old. Like, that's what I'm scared for in terms of the Destiny, which I'm looking forward to it too. Don't get me wrong. But as a Destiny fan, I don't fear Division taking away player base. I don't fear Anthem taking away player base, at least not for an extended period of time. I think they're fine releasing, especially with how quickly they've been releasing content. And keep in mind, Season of Opulence is almost entirely, to my understanding, Vicarious Visions working on it anyway. So they've had their entire live team freed up for the next DLC, if I understand the inner workings correctly. So I think they're in a really good place right now. I think they'll roll. These punches from the Division to Anthem are going to roll right off of Destiny. And I think it's going to be really good.
Interesting. I got a lot to say about. I got to give it to E because I know E's chomping at the bit right now.
No, you're good. You're good.
He's ready for attack. Go ahead, E.
I'm not attacking anything. Anyway. No. So my opinion on this whole thing, just because this is usually towards the end of each one of these, is I'm kind of with you guys on the fact that it is nice to have the content, but what we've got people that have been burned by Destiny 1 fallen off. People burned by Destiny 2 hardcore in year 1. Even one of my closest gaming friends did not get Warmind because Osiris was so bad. And I couldn't even tell him to get it. So you have people that have been burned twice. And then if you keep it as Destiny 2, selling to new people, Forsaken did a lot. Forsaken did a lot to bring it back, but even Activision said its piece of its sales weren't all of what it was expecting. Now their numbers are screwy. We know they're, making gobs and gobs, but we have the Netties 100 million that came in. You had that as an incentive, but you also have now, shout out to Hogue Law, saying for Bungie to get away from Activision, they paid about $160 million in a couple different ways to break away from Activision and own their rights. So I was like, after reading that, or hearing that from Hogue, I know Cognito's sitting there grinning from ear to ear. He's like, you got to be able to pay for it, which is one thing. And that's where I was like, I don't know if the NetEase made it possible. I don't know the cash in their coffers. And my big worry is every release of Destiny has been rushed. Either Destiny 1 being revamped like 16 months before and basically not having a great story, finally come together and taking king. Then you had Destiny 2, which I don't know if it got remade again, but they broke so many things. And again, this pressure. The fact that they finally have the option not to be on a September schedule gives them flexibility that they've never had before. And my big piece is that I would rather them take the time to build what they need to, whether it's not on this perfect release schedule. What if they did a Taken King style thing, but what if it's in, I don't know, February or March? Or what if
I think you need something in between to supplement. I don't think the way, especially with how these are leaking out content, week after week, I don't think they're built to survive a drought like that.
So what do you think if they release like a D3 and they're like, hey, this is like the rumors about the RPGs, they take the time to build on it, and they can come back and they go brand new consoles, D3. My only worry is if they don't do that right, the game is completely done, whatever they do in this next year.
I agree.
So that's my worry is like the give and take between the two. And I know you said like what Vicarious Visions or High Moon is finishing up Opulence, which is what they are supposed to be separate. We know whatever, if something is September, it probably was in the works, but it was like they have the flexibility not to. And I'm just like, I've worried I don't know if they can hit Forsaken's mark again. If they do Taken King and then Rise of Iron, that's still a very different level of content difference. And if they do Forsaken and Rise of Iron 2 that doesn't live up to the Savathun that you want, is that going to hurt people enough that even like D3 won't matter? But yeah, as you said, I mean, the cadence makes sense. Finish Savathun. If you can have that type of level, finish that story, and then do the Space Doritos triangle ships. I heard Tefty call them Space Doritos once, and I laughed my butt off.
When Tef said that.
But yeah, the triangle ships, like that makes sense for D3. I just don't know if she's the darkness or whatever, or if they're separate, but it's just my worry of getting a piece of content that is rushed because everything has felt rushed and they finally have the flexibility. I'd like to see them. So again, I'm torn on the financial and like the cadence side, but again, like if they took some time off or like had some smaller pieces, what if they did like a year's worth of annual pass and not a Forsaken piece? But then D3 was like amazing.
Yeah. I think so. If instead of a Forsaken piece, they just did 4 annual pass things, I think that would be fine. I think that would be more than fine, actually. I think the really important thing that maybe some people might overlook here is, remember, Destiny 2 did seem a little bit unfinished, but remember, it was supposed to come out when Rise of Iron did. Rise of Iron was never supposed to exist. This time, it seems that they've given themselves that extra year of development time intentionally. It's not a delay this time around. They're planning on taking it. And I have every confidence that, especially after the response of Destiny 1 and especially Destiny 2, if they need to delay it, they will. But I trust them to make those judgment calls. But I also think that, especially with Christopher Barrett and being in the position he is with the live team and being able to lead it as successfully as he has been now, I think they could recover a lot better from that than a year worth of drought with the Rise of Iron. If what you were going for is instead of a Savathun DLC, we get a 4th annual pass thing. Like, so we get these 3 and then they release another annual pass and they're like, here's 4 content drops and that'll hold us over to Destiny 2 or whatever. I think that's perfect. Or sorry, excuse me, Destiny 3. That'll work just as well. We just need content. I think Destiny would take a harder hit from a content drought than anything. At this point.
Yeah, because mine before, and Cognito's probably going to correct me, like the whole 4 thing annual passes and something I'd even said before. Honestly, mine was like, if they flat out took a break with all this stuff duking it out and everything, and then just came back full swinging, I was like, that's kind of my wonders if they literally took the time to just go full on D3. But I mean, as you're saying, it's like the time off as well. It's just my debate of like the balance between the two. But as you've also mentioned, they have had a pretty good cadence with the live team, which has helped them maintain stability. And as you said, if you fall off the map, and Cognito said it too, falling completely off the map with all this stuff, you worry about mindshare. But if you come back completely guns blazing on D3, if they do it right, either way, what they do before, they have, oh man, I hope D3 is amazing.
Oh, dude, I have every confidence it will be. You know, Bungie is in their swing right now. They've got it.
Mhm.
I yeah.
Let me. Oh,
Cognito.
yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's
Yep.
tag me in, coach.
You good? You good? Let's go.
Tag me in, 'cause I'm
I
jumping.
will say before you do that though, shout out to Hogue. $160 million, as Hogue said it, is a hell of a commitment to your own property.
No, absolutely. And I assume that's why they're doing things like the Eververse bundles next year. And it might seem like, oh, Eververse bundles won't cover that, but keep in mind Activision made what, $2 billion on microtransactions.
And
So
they've already made the edit to the Eververse now. That's the big little controversy right now, right? With the prismatic facet
right.
going away. So they've already shown that, look, we're gonna monetize. You know what I'm saying? And, I mean, and to be honest, I'm not even that crazy. Like, I'm not upset.
I'm not mad about it. I'm supporting them.
don't
I bought both the things for Crimson Days. I'll continue to do it. Now that I know my money's going to Bungie and not Activision, I will absolutely support a business that I love and I want to succeed. And I'll encourage other people to do the same.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is interesting time period, and I'm in actually a little bit on both of your sides as far as what you think. As far as I'm with Skarrow in the sense that, in my opinion, they cannot afford to go away. You know what I'm saying? They can't, because the part where I disagree with you, Skarrow, I think you're seriously underestimating Division. I think the difference with Division is that Massive has sat there and learned from every mistake, at least initially, based on what's being presented, and we'll get into, from the Division 1, and that player base is strong. And regardless to how we feel about, as Destiny fans, about that game, boots on the ground, Call of Duty and Rainbow Six Siege type games, they still have a place. You know what I'm saying? Those things are still top sellers. And now they're taking from the Destiny playbook with raids, with all this stuff, clans. I mean, and they're very extensive improvements. They are looking to play ball here. You know what I'm saying? So I don't anticipate, unless they completely botch the launch, and everything is completely non-functional, and we've got all type of craziness running around, I expect a hit. Now, just like you said, though, every looter shooter is going to get a hit. No one's going to stay consistent in this type of climate. However, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're the threat, in my opinion. And then Anthem is still Anthem, right? They still have a chance to improve, regardless to this rough start and the sales. We all agree that all three of us love that game. We love flying around that game. We feel it feels good. It does something unique that the other two do not do, right? On some level. So if they improve, and we know Cataclysms are May, right? What if Cataclysms are awesome? Like, what if Cataclysms are really cool, and then it gets a little base back? Again, this is all in conjunction with what's going on with Destiny. Now, with the Season of Drifters, Season of Opulence, sounds good. I think this is good to get people's piqued interest. But in my opinion, the season pass format, I'm not saying it's terrible. I just feel that come, fall of this year, they need something big. They need to really get people excited. They need another Forsaken. They need something. I think it would be crazy not to be in the mind share of a base, because, again, if Division continue pulling content, if Anthem continually improves throughout the year, and there's no Destiny, that gets a little dicey. Now, I do agree with E in this sense, though. Like, you don't want things rushed, right? You don't want them just to push out something just to meet some specific date, so to speak. When it's ready, it's ready. You know what I'm saying? So that's the cool part of being free from Activision, but at the same time, I think something does have to drop this year. Maybe if it doesn't drop September, if it drops October, they need a little bit more time. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. November, they need to stay away, because at the end of the day, Call of Duty is still there. You won't play with Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? So you want to give that a chance to breathe. So still something end of the year, and then we'll see what happens. Now, I will say this. If they do what you guys say, and they continue the annual pass, drip feed content, so to speak, I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be like, okay, oh, this is, completely bad or whatever. I wouldn't be upset if they did that. Just damn well, D3 has to be what it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. And for me, it's, cross progression, cross play. The next generation consoles will be out in 2020. And so we shall see. I mean, me personally, I think they need something strong to end the year off before, Destiny 3. But it'll be interesting to see how they handle it, man. This is exciting. This is exciting times to see, 3 looter shooters out here, and I don't want to disrespect Warframe. Warframe's is another one, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's so many things right now. So
yeah. I think the important thing that we can learn from Anthem, though, is that if Division doesn't land their launch perfectly, I think people are done with AAA titles launching at 95%.
Service, yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, you mentioned Cataclysms and stuff in Anthem, and I'm really excited for it. And all DLC's free and stuff. But I think especially after this rocky start, there's only so much of that player base they're getting back. And I think if Division doesn't hit it perfectly and it doesn't have that end game that everyone wants, that it is currently already in full force in Destiny, I don't think they'll maintain their player base very well, which I admittedly admittedly we didn't really discuss any of this, but I'm not a huge Division fan. I didn't play actually I've never played Division. Cool. Drop the bomb.
No, it's cool, dude, because I played it, but I hated Division. Like, I am a Division hater. Like, it's so funny to me to kind of champion in it a little bit, because I didn't like the first one. But what I will say, just not to interrupt you real quick, is just that they have addressed every issue, in my opinion, that was fundamentally wrong with the game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, let's see. And again, the end game to me, listen, at the end, what I realized, I'll say this last thing and I'll give it back to you. At the end of the day, let's just keep it all the way 100. When it comes to gunplay, game mechanics, raids, no one's touching Destiny. When Destiny's on, it's the best. That's just my opinion. Call me fanboy, call me, but that's just how I feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So again, the vibe I'm getting is like they're literally trying to copy the playbook over there at Massive. They're like, okay, these guys got raids, and this is what they do, and this is the clan stuff. Cool. They're trying to do it in their own little way, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see. But I know what you're saying about Division. I'll give it back to you in reference to your experience with Division.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing, is like, I'm a very much an outsider looking in. I going into it, I don't like third person usually, and I'm not really a huge Ubisoft fan. So the original Division I didn't touch, and then it was one of those games I was like, oh, I'll pick it up 6 months after launch or whatever. And then it got destroyed, and I was like, okay, well, that turned out exactly like I thought it was going to turn out. And now here we are again, version 2. I will admit I've heard a lot of better stuff, but nothing in Division has sounded as promising as Anthem. And I mean, Anthem got slaughtered. And I mean, how do you argue with all free DLC? That's the thing that kills me about Anthem, is like, the game mechanics are there, the DLC is there, the dev response is there. I just don't understand why it didn't land. Because it's very much a 90% game. There's obviously issues with it, glaring issues, but it's like a 90 out of 100% game. And if it didn't stick the landing like I thought it was, the Division better have a freaking magic rabbit in its hat, or it's not going to land very hard, or it's not going to land very softly. It's going to hit pretty hard.
This Skarrow. we will revisit this. I invite you back on.
Let's do it. No. I'm happy to. I'm happy to.
You, man,
and let's look at. I'm actually really interested in this, because, like I said, I haven't been keeping up with this at all. A little bit of stuff, and I've read like the basic stuff, that all this new stuff I haven't seen, and I'm not again, or I'll admit I was wrong if I am, and I gladly, and I'll pick up the game and I'll play it and I'll have a hella fun time. But right now, I just we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
I see it's up on the screen, so get me the transition.
I was like, we may as well just talk about it. You're in the middle of it anyway.
I'm in the middle of it, man. And look, man, again, shout out to PD in the chat. Say he's trying to take credit for converting me into this big Division fanboy. But look, at the end of the day, they dropped some content, and they talked about the year one pass, which I have up on the screen. They're talking about, obviously, I listened to the Division stream, and first of all, boys, you got to work on your stream. Like it's so technical, but it's not. That's one thing Bungie just does so well. Like it's no Deej there. There's no cool smoking jacket. You know what I'm saying? Just you guys are very technical, and they got to work on making it a little bit more fan friendly. But I listened to it, and it was really cool in the sense that the way they described it is, you see on the left, we got these 3 episodes, and the vibe is this, Skarrow. Like, what they're doing is, okay, you've got DC's been taken over. You've got these 3 major factions. I can't quote me on the names right now, but all
I
of them
can't even remember those. I only remember the
they
last one.
they have different play style. One is like the Jackals or something like that, and the other one is 2 other ones, right? They're all vying for control of Washington, D.C. So as you play the story, right, and then as you progress further, and then you get towards the end game content, you know what I'm saying? What they're saying is not only do you have strongholds, they're talking about, obviously, we talked about raid, we talked about dedicated PvP, we talk about Dark Zone, which is that PvE versus PvP kind of mix kind of deal. And then what they mentioned at the year one pass is they're now talking about 3 story narrative based content drops that are free that continue the story post launch, right? This is something that they said on stream that they have said that, look, you know, narratively wise, we got killed for that, right? We didn't really address things. And then the other thing that they mentioned, which is really cool to me, is the specialization. So pretty much what happens is, think of it like a, you know, when you start off and then you get to max level, then you can kind of pick your subclass, so to speak, specialized. I believe one is kind of like a demolition guy, and there's, you know, there's another one with like this crossbow thing, and then there's a whole certain perk tree set and mid-maxing that you can do for each class, for each specialization. Now with the year one pass, what they're talking about is post-release, then they're unleashing another 3 more specializations. So again, in Destiny terms, it's the equivalent of 3 more subclasses that will be released at the end. So you got that, you got the classified assignments, which will again be story content. And then for the first time, and shout out to Attic, I know he's in here. He's a big raid guy, right? One of our biggest critiques with the division was that the end game content was yeah, let's call it what it is. Incursions are trash.
Call a spade a spade. Yeah,
it was terrible. Trash.
First one was actually the worst. I heard they did improve a little bit, but the first one was. Yeah. If you want me to describe it quickly for you, Skarrow basically put an APC in an underground large concrete room, and somehow you have to try and kill this thing with enemies coming at you.
Yeah. It was
and it's just like firing missiles in a room. I'm like, outside of all the physics behind the reasons you would die, it wasn't fun.
It wasn't. So they took the feedback to heart, you know, and now what they're doing is, again, according to the devs, you know, full dedicated raids. Shout out to my boy Eric Streaming. I've had him on ILP podcast, Eric Gaming. I've had him on ILP before, and he actually has a great video where he sat down with them, and he's a big raid guy. So he's like, okay, you know, is this gonna be bullet sponge, you know, or are we going to have mechanics? And the devs were very clear. They were like, no, this is going to be mechanic based. You know what I mean? 8 players. Again, we have to see it, but it sounds exciting. We have to see how it's implemented, but it sounds, you know, pretty cool. So, you know, we got that content, you know, going on. And then, like I said, the Bounties project, they talked about the clan system. You know, there's some really cool features, very rich, even to the level of Destiny, as far as, you know, the whole ranking of your clan members. There's dedicated chat rooms per, you know what I'm saying? So they are coming. They are coming. As we know, the open beta is now. It's for free. So Skarrow, you could try it. You can check it out.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
Download. It's free, man. Just for the weekend. You know, spin. See what
I'll give it a shot for sure. For sure.
Yeah. And like I said, at the end of the day, you know, I was impressed just with the level of content. You know, I didn't think that they would have this amount of content, and they also have dedicated PvP. So for people who don't like the Dark Zone, you know, they have that. And then the last thing about Dark Zone, which is something I kind of stayed away from, and you know, I've kind of expressed on this show before, that my main reason for staying away from it was because, you know, if you weren't a hardcore player that really had all these high level gear sets and all these perks, that if you jumped into that game mode, you would get wrecked. And now with the 3 Dark Zones, and basically they have one roaming occupied Dark Zone, which will retain that level of, you know, high level guys will be the dominant factor, but the rotating one, the other 2, will be normalized. So people like us who are casual division players will come in, and it's normalized stats. Almost think of it as like Iron Banner versus Standard Crucible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, so to speak. So again, they just seem to be very receptive to the feedback that a lot of the Division 1 players had, a lot of people who were kind of on the fence with it. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So I thought it was cool. You know, it's out right now for those, like I said, want to give it a shot, see what it's about. But they are definitely dedicated to post-launch content, as well as continuing out throughout the year. And they did say raid. So this is raid number 1. I believe it's the name of it's like Beyond Dark Hours or something to that effect. And
it's at an airport.
Yeah, it's everywhere. And we got to see. We got to see what they do. And I was going to give it to you guys on that if you guys get a chance, catch that trailer. And they also doing Strongholds, which also surprised me. Which is basically the last thing I'll say on this is that again, once you end the campaign and you gear yourself up, you're getting ready for the end game content. This new faction appears. It's called the Black Tusk. They now take over the map. So think of it like the Taken War, so to speak. And now they're in all the missions. You know what I'm saying? So that new faction. Now they apparently one of the stronghold missions is going to be infiltrating that faction's base, so to speak. So yeah, man. It's pretty cool. I think they're coming. It's going to be interesting to see if they can keep it up. And did you get a chance to watch the trailer at least? I don't know if you've been busy.
For which one?
For the year one content trailer.
I did watch it. It was kind of a brief piece where, so I don't kind of remember every single piece of it. But yeah, I definitely gotta watch a little bit. They talked about episode 1, so it's kind of like picture annual pass part 1. That's the DC outskirts where you kind of go more into the suburban areas. Episode 2, of course, like the Pentagon is like the structure, of course, for anything related to DC. So the fact that we actually kind of get to go in there seems cool. And then the 3 seems more open. The specializations, it looks like, can't really tell from the picture. This one looks like kind of a heavy machine gun here. I can't tell the other two, but it does seem like they do have a lot. They went more in depth on the specializations and things like that. And again, it seems like there's a lot of depth to the game. I haven't really argued that. Mine's literally, and probably for anybody, is do you enjoy the feel of the game? If you enjoy the boots on the ground, if you enjoy the cover shooter, if you enjoy the military feel, the min-maxing RPG, if you want an RPG like military shooter, this is your game. Like, this literally has your name plastered all over it, because this is going to give you the depth, a whole lot of like different factions to shoot, different mechanics, like getting advanced in the war fight type stuff when you fight the Black Tusk. It has a lot of stuff to offer. Their annual pass is basically also free, like Anthem. So Skarrow, they're kind of got a same model. Bungie's the only one who's actually charging, which is
it's kind of interesting.
The odd one out, which is weird. But shout out when you get stuff like Season the Drifter. I'll pay for it. So I mean, they're free content as well. Now they have their random, like, okay, so everybody gives Anthem crap because of the release launch window and stuff like that. If you want to see what it's like when you pre-order different versions of the Division, that's worse.
Wow,
I
will say that.
It's not the release window. It's like some get you early access, some get you that like you get. So this is PvE content, but there's a PvP element to it. Say somebody gets 3 days early access to something in Destiny. That would kind of break a lot of things. This gives 3 days early access, and then this says 7-day early access for the pre-order. If you buy this pass, you get early access to new stuff
that is
just
true.
for paying the extra money. So those are some of the pieces to this that is like kind of gonna, I mean, everybody's making their money in different ways, but that early access piece just kind of rubs me weird. I wish that was a thing.
Weird. I would agree. They're talking about the 3 specializations being able to be unlocked for early access guys. That is a little, it's like they're equivalent of like, if you buy Destiny early, you'll get, those 3 subclasses unlocked.
But it would be like, it would be Scourge of the Past. It releases a week early if you paid for the pass. It doesn't.
Well, actually, they just talk about the specialization. From my understanding.
Oh, it says 7-day early access to year 1 to
just the narrative episodes. Those are just like
okay, but there's like the pre-order for at least like some of for the actual episodes themselves. You get like 3 days early access for pre-ordering like a version of the game.
That is true. That is true.
I mean, those are just weird little tidbits and stuff like that. I mean, the game has a lot to offer, and if they don't pull a Destiny 2 saying, "Hey, let's figure out everything we learned, throw it on a bookshelf, and try something new." Like that would, if they take the development and learn, but also it's like when you jump in, you play the game, some of the things about it are way too, they took like a UI. I will say Destiny's UI beats both of them hands down.
Oh yeah.
Divisions and Anthems both need some help because Division 2 this time there's so much clicking and like double clicking and like going through 6 menus for things. And then even like, I forget who said it. You're looking at your skill trees and you're looking at the menu and you're like, I don't even know which one I have selected because the picture doesn't change.
Wow.
So there's certain pieces when it comes to UI elements and stuff like that. But when it comes to a cover-based system, it's one of the best ones I've ever played. the feel of like shooting the guns, the actual psychological piece about the armored enemies feels better because they actually have armor that breaks and then they die really fast, as opposed to bullet spongy crazy things. Like in Anthem, when you're shooting an Ursix, or in Destiny, when you're shooting a giant ogre, it makes sense that you're probably gonna have to shoot him a few more times. When I'm shooting a guy in a bandana, he should die quickly. And that's one of those things they've actually, like, I mean, they're gonna have some harder enemies. Yes, it's an RPG, but I like the armor for the psychological nature of like, I have to shoot this guy's armor like 20 times on his hip, and then when it finally breaks, if I shoot the hip, then I can take him down quickly. That was one of those things, like, for me, that was like, okay, that at least makes sense in my head more than it did before.
With the bat running at you can't kill it.
So I mean, like, yeah, Skarrow, if you got time this weekend, I mean, because it is the down week before, unless you're trying to grind something else out, which is nice. They moved the pins out for Destiny 2 as well. Play it. It's free. I would try it.
I'll try it out, dude. I'll give it a couple hours at least.
Yeah, I was like, and I'd actually kind of be curious to get your thoughts. Like, hit us up in our little Twitter DM group afterwards and let us know. I'm surely curious, because if you didn't play D1 and you're kind of stepping in, I'm honestly curious what you think of this.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll see what happens.
It would be cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Like I said, for those guys out there, just give it a shot if you want to see what it's about. It's out here in these streets, and that's all I got, man. But what else we got for Anthem before we wrap up, man? I know we got some patch notes and stuff going on with Anthem, right?
Yeah, we've had a couple different patches. They've worked on, there's 2 different sets. This is one of the hot fixes that went out yesterday. So shout out to, first off, all the guys working on this team. Guys, gals, everybody putting time into Anthem. And this is where I have more my faith in BioWare. And Ubisoft has supported their games as well. Where they've taken Division 1 from a very, very, very rocky launch and like stuck with it. They have stuck with their games more than anybody else I've seen.
Yeah, Ubisoft, man.
And they're like, BioWare wants to, from what I can see from Ben Irving, Michael Gamble, all those guys out there, Casey Hudson, any of those names that I've seen on Twitter, the support and the love for this game, it's real. The passion, you can watch it in every stream. And the only difference is if EA is going to give the money to do it. So that's the one we'll have to watch and see. They want to, if they get the money to continue to maintain it. And as you said, this is kind of one of the things where you're like, okay, so we get we get to see what this next 3 months looks like. Some people are wondering, and Skarrow, for you, this may like work a little better because you love the grind for like, oh, I want that next legendary. You may get a legendary, like, jump out of your chair and then jump back and be like, sweet, and you're good. But for some, as you get like, you only get one stronghold in April. The Cataclysm does come in May. The grind and the rocky launch, for some, this has been questionable, but we're a week from the original launch, 2 weeks from the early access. So depends on how you want to look at it. Like, just the way the loot has been dropping, and we've got changes for, this is probably one of the biggest things. And this is one thing Destiny has got to do. Items no longer have inscriptions on them that are not appropriate for that specific item. I cannot tell you how many times I get a sniper with hipfire grip. I want to throw my game in the bush. And I cannot stand that. I should not get an auto rifle that gives plus shotgun ammo like that. And that's the type of stuff that was happening in Anthem. I get a ability gear for my interceptor, and it's going to help something that doesn't even make sense. So like there are certain things that they went and they were like, okay, quick run through, fix the loot. So things are actually correct now. They also helped with the crafting materials, and there's a couple more things that they have coming. And there's some other fixes in here. I don't know where the other patch notes are, so I'm not entirely sure where it's at. But the fact that they changed like the way the loot system is dropping due to like feedback from the community in literally like a week,
very quick,
is like, that's damn fast. And I just kind of want to get your thoughts on, for one, your thoughts on Anthem so far, Skarrow, since it sounds like you have been playing it. And two, just your thoughts on where it's been and how do you think the annual pass is going to be, not the annual pass, but the at least Act 1 content. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so obviously I don't want to have like the 40-minute conversation that everyone's been having about this. Pretty much everything's been said. Real quickly, I am on the side that's enjoying it. That being said, even for a grindy player like myself, some of these things are getting a little bit redundant. For instance, the challenge of Valor, after you complete campaign, you have to do 100 public events. Hell no, I'm not doing that. Stop it. Just get help. I'm not doing that. very much recognize the complaints with pretty much every encounter of the game is one of like 5 certain encounters. You have the things where you got to pick stuff up or stand on a certain object or whatever. I get it. Like I said, I'm not naturally a fan of third person things either. So that doesn't help. But in terms of the loot system in the game and the combat system, I've actually been very much enjoying it. It's just, you know, I see the same problems everyone else does. I think it's got a little bit more sticking power with me. I think it's one of those games I'm not going to play every single day like Destiny, but it'll keep me coming back on a weekly basis. You know, log in for a couple hours every Sunday or something to get the challenge this week or whatever. And the fact I really love things like the There Be Giants challenge last week, where you had 5 days to get this challenge done. If you didn't do it, tough luck. You don't get the vinyl. I think that's so cool. I love that sort of stuff. And then in terms of Act 1, I think MTash really put it best, man. I was really excited for it, but it's so far out. And it's one of those things like Destiny Vanilla lasted by itself a long time because it had the raid, because it had all these things you needed to grind for. But you know, strongholds aren't cutting it. They're just not. They're all right, but I think at the end of the day, I personally would rather just go run around free play than do a stronghold, especially with random people, because you're going to be there for hours.
Right.
In terms of, you know, that's the game. I overall I give it about a 7.5 out of 10. I you know, that's a very arbitrary ranking system, obviously, but I think that's a good, maybe an 8. Depending on the day. That's specifically kind of like the end game. I've spent a lot of time in there. I'm enjoying it. I'm going to keep playing it. But the thing that's really standing out from this game is the dev team. This is incredible. The fact that they've been able to turn around this quickly every time for all these fixes and stuff, and that they're so willing to say that they got something wrong and that they'll fix it because we like it better a certain way. And, you know, I think once I start getting, because I only have one legendary, maybe a couple, I don't remember. Once I start getting into the more crazy drops, I think I'll start getting into the part where I really enjoy it. But it's one of, you know, I don't understand the hate for it, but I get that. I don't understand for the hate for the game where it is right now, but I understand people being not very happy about new content being so far out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think kind of we're pretty much on the same page. I mean, it's like I said, the potential is there. I mean, there's still a fun factor there. There's still a lot of great class synergy. You know what I mean? That I like the uniquenesses of each class and stuff like that. I was with you, you know, when I heard about stuff with the tombs and stuff. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way in reference to that. But and yeah, the strongholds. You know, one of them we already had from the you know, the prior demo. One is a remix literally of the end of the game. You know what I mean? So the strongholds are definitely not something I'm really interested in. You know, for me, it's all about Cataclysm. What is that? And it's a little disappointing that it's so far out. You know, it's like I'm like, I didn't think we'd have to wait till May. You know, cool thing about Anthem for me is kind of what you said, Skarrow, which is I actually have fun just going into free play and doing what I want to do, you know, that kind of thing. But you know, listen, I mean, this thing, it's a good complement game to like a Destiny, so to speak. Like if you want to get in there, you want to get in a few hours and stuff like that. And I will say this, I do agree with you guys though. Like this dev team has been amazing as far as like transparency, as far as quickness, as far as speed, you know, really being able to implement this stuff as far as the loot, the mass works and all that kind of stuff. That's great. That's the kind of stuff you want to see Bungie really adopt, you know what I mean? Because it's really not much of a delay. It gets back in. And my thing is I just want them to stick with it, man. Keep putting this stuff out, you know, and hopefully if they can just move that schedule up, because again, May is a long time, you know, once the rest of the community catches up and, you know, they beat the tunes and they beat the main, you know, the campaign, then, you know, I just don't want it to be that low period where it's just like, okay, well, what else do I do? Am I going to do Grandmaster, you know, kind of deal? And then that's it. And then kind of hightail it out because Destiny's content's here or Division's content's here or what have you. So, you know, that's where I'm at with it. Still love the game. You know, I'm going to still give it a shot, you know, as much as I possibly can. And I just want them to support it. That's all. I just keep bringing out content.
Shout out to somebody in the community. I've got to confirm it somewhere, but speculation here is shout out to PC Gamer. As of literally right now,
What's up?
next week, Xur Forsaken Exotics.
Oh, I was meaning to say that. I knew that. Yes.
Wow, nice.
Where was that posted? I just missed it.
Yeah, it was I believe PC Gamer. Someone sent that to me. I completely forgot to mention it during the Xur segment. Yes, yeah. That for finally.
Yeah. It's a long window. So like on that one, seriously, like it should have started in like Black Armory personally. It's been 3 months. Let the other stuff get going. You don't have to wait another 6. I mean, yeah, if you get a new release, the old stuff should start coming. Like, yeah, take 3 months if you can earn them. If you don't, time to catch up. Like, that just seems reasonable. At least have it in his ridiculous randomness. That's for sure. Exactly. I mean, it may not be there for like 6 weeks, but give it the option is all I'm going for.
That Xur video, I need you to wake me up out of sleep.
I'm taking my mammoth of a computer. If you look up the Dark Base Pro 900 for a case, you know it's not small, and that's going with me to Kansas on the second weekend when the quest starts. So believe me, I'm doing it if my internet doesn't die, I literally didn't do my Xur video today because the internet had been down all day. And at this point it's useless, so I won't do it today. But yeah, I do have to log in and check and see what he's got. But
tell me Geobags is available. I've been completely unlucky on Warlock Forsaken Exotics. And it's just like, man, I want to know what that feels like. I want to know what, Phoenix Protocol feels like. Like, I know none of these things. Two-tailed Fox, like, nothing. Like, I need something, Xur. So, yeah, that'll be cool, man. So, good breaking news.
Yeah, here's the Xur video for the week. The Colony, Peacekeepers, Knucklehead Radar, and Claws of Ahamkara.
I'll go get Colony because I don't have it on PC.
Yeah. So, that, I think, pretty much wraps it up. But yeah, it's like, I mean, I'm kind of with you guys on Anthem. It's something that is honestly got a lot of potential, and I'm kind of like with you. I literally love like going to free play and just roaming. That's the part that feels amazing, and that's the part they need to dive deeper into and give it more. I like the abilities. I kind of like the fun. I love my interceptor, which I'm sorry if I've made anybody on Twitch throw up from motion sickness. But I love what my interceptor is able to do. It's probably just the worst one to play on stream. Either way, it's kind of it has a really good foundation, and it's one of those things I hate saying because that's what we said about Destiny. We're like, this is the game like we love and we're passionate for, but it has the framework is there. We just want more. We need more stuff to do, and that's just those points where I think EA pushed it too fast. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna go ahead and fly through one more thing because I know this has been an insane day.
Yes.
We're going to just scroll through Season of the Drifter. You got the Vidoc, so you guys can go out there and read that. Gambit Prime, we discussed. We discussed Reaper, Invader, Collector, and Sentry. Those are your 4. I just want to make sure we don't miss anything. Reckoning, PvE activity, Lore, Pinnacle PvE, Crazy Gamp. So this is your little bank thing, I think.
Yeah.
So you got new weapons and armor. This has got to be a pulse rifle, and I think I like it the most.
People were pointing out that those gauntlets don't appear to match the armor sets, so they're thinking they're new exotic arm pieces. There's one for each class. Yeah. The Titan has one in the bottom left that especially looks really exotic.
Yeah, that's one piece. Like we don't have any word on. I mean, they gave too much away. I think in Black Armory that here's your exotics, and they all had their ways you had to get them.
Yeah,
I've got to assume there's some exotics and things to earn in this, at least hopefully. So. That will be there. The Power Surge bounties we talked about. Iron Banner will be coming back. We didn't talk about the Iron Banner burden.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the burden. I forgot about that.
So you can drop your power level basically up to 100 points to give yourself a disadvantage in Iron Banner, but you get kind of like triumphs and things for.
Oh, what the hell? Really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Versa.
And you can also boost it up.
That's crazy. I can't wait to mess with that.
Yeah, they're playing with the power level mechanic in Iron Banner.
So that's weird. Please let Iron Banner have at least a little more variety than just always control.
Oh, it does right there say exotic weapons and armor, by the way. So we are for sure getting stuff.
Nice.
Annual pass owners can add more of the best weapons to their collection. And the Pinnacle Chase. Oh, didn't even talk about the Pinnacles.
Oh, yeah.
Pinnacles, yeah.
We got to talk about these guys. Sorry, we ain't done yet.
Damn it.
Sorry, I'm at 10:48 for my time, but yeah, these guys are definitely getting some late East Coast hours. So appreciate them sticking with it, and those of you guys still in stream as well. So which one do you guys want to hit first? Gambit, PvE, or PvP?
Do you save the best for last or go with it first?
You pick. Let's say you got it first. I'll let you pick
let's
whatever
do
you
the
want.
Gambit one because that's gonna be mental. It's gonna be real nutty. Okay, 21% delirium. Kills increases weapons damage until it is stowed or reloaded. Plus, it has a new perk called Overflow, I think.
Yep.
Where
right.
it's essentially just like Ambitious Assassin, but on steroids. It's gonna be incredible.
Yeah, that sounds beast.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the other two can live up. So, Cognito, you can take the Crucible one since you're the Crucible guy here.
The Recluse, yeah, lightweight Void sub Vice. Look, I like the Vice. Vice always got those cool little.
I do like their models. They're sharp and kind of jagged.
Yeah, man. So Master of Arms perk, man, kills with any weapons, improve this weapon's damage for a short time. And they commented about how they know submachines are not in a good place. And yeah, man. So they basically giving you this massive arm perks, and you can just pull this bad boy out, depending on whatever weapon you kill, you get more damage for a short time. So, you know, this is going to be interesting to see if it can actually counter shotguns and sidearms and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to get that quest going, man. Competitive going to be sweaty again.
Yeah, somebody's gonna have to grind it out and see if it's worth it. The first review that comes out for this gun is gonna have like 1 million views, I'm sure.
Yeah,
so.
well, I have a team ready to hit it up. Don't worry.
Oh, there we go. Shout out Skarrow. Follow this man.
Yes,
he's gonna get you the info.
Yeah.
Last but not least, the Oxygen SR3. So Dragonfly deals more damage based on the number of precision hits made beforehand. So picture a giant ogre, pump him up, and then you may as well just wipe everything that's sitting near him, is what it sounds like, at least. But it's a scout rifle. So I'm not sure kind of how I'm feeling about those still. We'll have to see how this one feels.
Yeah,
but
I'm hoping it's not another loaded question where it sounds great in theory, but in practice, it's not that great.
Yeah, it's like you. I mean, loaded questions one of those where it's like
I know how to use it. I actually like it.
Why would I never use loaded question because I close, right? Like why? You know, that's my thing. I know it's you know.
I've got some functionality for it. I trust me, I was the same way. I couldn't get it to actually knocked out. But again, I'm using Lunafaction. I have a specific build for it. And
okay.
Yeah, like it could be deadly, man. Because
put it to use during Arc Week, dude.
Yo, yeah, Arc Week.
Arc Week. There we go. We have no idea what that is. I still don't. That's so crazy.
Yo, real quick. Yeah, I know we crazy late and we going over, but it wouldn't be right if I didn't briefly skim through the sandbox thing real quick, if you don't mind. Because they
go for it. Where are we looking?
I know I'm gonna put Skarrow to sleep, but I'm
no, dude, you're fine, man.
Okay. Bro, I have
you know us. Us.
Yes.
I don't want to call myself a kid because I'm not a kid, but I stay up all night. It's whatever, man.
I stream till 2:00 and I'm 35 years old. So.
Yeah, bro.
There you go. You know us gamers, man.
Yeah, we're crazy for life. So.
Yeah, man. They made some comments about the sandbox changes, upcoming sandbox changes for Season of Drifter.
So let me switch over to the TWAB.
Yeah,
so that's where this will be.
That's such a nice wallpaper, by the way. The Thorn.
Oh, I know. I love that one.
That is so now good. on my work computer, on my home computers, everything. That is
everywhere. Yeah, shout out to the artist up there. So quick 12 1 through when we get there, I'll let you see. I'm just trying to make sure we don't miss anything. So we got everything about Season of the Drifter. Read it, look at it, calendar. We know that stuff, the gameplay calendar. Prime accessibility. They break down a little deeper on the roles.
And the colorblind. That's incredible.
Yeah, there's your colorblind. So
incredible.
Shout out to them for that. That's really cool.
I'm sure I'm going to butcher this. The deuteranopia, protanopia, and tritanopia. So hitting the colorblind, still making them distinct, which is, it's interesting to see this from my perspective, to see what they actually would be looking at for the differences. This one looks the hardest, the duotranopia.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure, because that, like, these two are about as close as they can get. These finally, like the pink, the purple. Yeah, that one up top. So... but yeah, we've got the 3 peaks. So you got Scouty, SMG, LMG. That one looks so good.
One thing I really love about it is if you see the Suro signia, they've started to like scratch them off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's really cool. So like the Drifters like rebranded it with the Gambit stuff.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
kinda
really cool.
Nice. And this, they said, is the first rapid fire machine gun. So bullet hose picture. I can't remember the like one from D1, but it's your first little faster firing for sure. Just pumping out like probably 99 in the mag. So sandbox. Here we go. Okay, so go for it.
Yeah, they just pretty much. This was another surprise for me. They pretty much, they talked about the weapons. Obviously, and after the announcement of the Pinnacle, they pretty much talk about exotic power weapons, and they're talking about, as far as that being a go-to. And they had a thought process. They basically said, exotics will always have, their unique properties and stuff like that. But they're basically saying that exotics should be an expression, but it shouldn't be just the only option. And that a well-rolled legendary power weapon should be able to compete in raw damage with an exotic power weapon. So they go on to get into grenade launchers. PvE damage increased by 25%. We got reserve ammo increased on most grenade launchers. In most cases, grenade launchers gain 3 rounds in reserves, but this amount may vary based on the perks you have, field prep, etc. And then magazine perks and mods no longer affect ammo reserves. That was interesting to me. So I said, okay. And then they continue to go on as far as the rocket launchers. And this one is big in my opinion. PvE damage increased by 60 to 65%. So that's the legendary PvE rocket launchers. Exotic rocket launchers will have their damage tuned separately. Now, this is the big one. Cluster bomb. We all know if that rocket launcher don't have cluster bomb, we sharding it. So to see the damage.
That's true.
Yeah, damage reduced by 80, but then they're going to explain themselves, and they said the lost damage that was moved to the rocket launcher's main projectile is noted above with the damage increase. That's that 60 to 65%. You know what I'm saying? That's to kind of compensate it so they don't want cluster bomb to be completely ridiculous. So yeah, they pretty much said the same process that rocket launchers were too dependent on cluster bombs, like full auto on shotguns. Cluster bombs would nearly double the damage output of any given rocket. The result was that on a target that all you couldn't get the cluster bomb impact and detonate. So they pretty much say rocket launchers fell by the wayside pretty harshly. It's very true. By moving most of the damage of cluster bombs into the rocket itself, rocket launchers will now be more reliable and more effective all the way around, especially against aerial targets that cluster bombs would almost never damage. So I just wanted to bring this to you guys. Like, what do you feel about the exotic power slot thought process with these changes?
I'll just use Rat King to one phase Riven instead. We'll be fine.
Yeah, Riv. Oh yeah, Riven. I forgot. Yeah, that was.
I was gonna say that's the big one is the cluster bomb Riven strat. That's the one. That everybody knows.
I mean, I'm sure they might do enough damage anyways, right? Because they increased it by 65%. Cluster bombs still do 20% more damage. Because it was only reduced by 80, right? So we 5-manned it with cluster bombs the other day. I'm sure with six full power rockets, even after this, you'll still be able to one phase them. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be a very early test when all this comes out.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, grenade launchers, PvE damage for sure. I like that because I mean, I pulled out Prospector the other day because I was going like heavyweight Arc Singe on a Nightfall just to run something different. It still feels like I don't want them nerfing machine guns because they feel powerful. I mean, they feel OP, honestly. But if they could bring other power weapons up to that would be better. So I'm kind of liking this for sure for PvE because the single shot for a rocket launcher hitting like an absolute truck makes sense because, especially as they said, if it's in the air, the cluster bombs don't even make sense and you're not going to want to run it anyway. So there's really no benefit. So this is good. And the grenade launchers getting a buff by 25%. They basically said grenade launchers with the ammo perks and mods. There were different ones that had different like reserves and things like that. So I think they're kind of normalizing that a little better, which will be good. And then if you have reserves, you'll still have a bit more. I mean, I ran Prospector and I had 19 grenades, which is a lot. So I was able to still kill the Warden of Nothing guy at the end pretty much in about 6 seconds.
It's really weird because the Mountaintop, I believe, is the only legendary weapon that a full 6-man team can use in one phase every raid boss in the game. So this is just going to make it even better.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it was tier 1 ended up one phasing Insurrection with him, which means Mountaintop can one phase every boss, which is incredible. That's before this change, mind you. So
Oh yeah,
You know?
It'll be interesting to see those tests come out.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah, man. Yes, I just wanted to throw that in here because
Nope.
I'm the sandbox guy. I get excited with stupid little changes like this. I get all excited, ready to test things out once the patch comes out.
And then we got one more piece, and shout out to Hogue again. This is kind of bringing it back to this. The Eververse seasonal update is going to be changing things up because Prismatic Matrix is going away. So I just wanted your guys' quick thoughts on this, of them taking the Prismatic Matrix away, making them more basically based on silver, their direct purchases. But again, I don't know how it's going to rotate through. Like, what do you guys think about this real quick?
So for me, I never use prismatic facets, and I already get everything, but that's because I play too much of this game.
Shout out to this guy with 1,800 hours in D2.
Hey, let's not talk about that. My mom might be watching this, dude. She doesn't need to be knowing that, you know.
It's public information.
Yeah,
just a little more now. Public record.
No, but really, like I don't really use them that often. That being said, it's a slippery slope, but like I said a while ago, I have no problem supporting Bungie, and I actually encourage myself to, and my friends to as well. So that being said, I want to see where this goes. This is one of those things I can't pass judgment until I see what type of cosmetics they offer, and if what everything's looking like. So I'm really gonna have to wait to see what it looks like in game before I pass judgment.
What about you, Cognito?
Yeah, listen, I mean, this, this is unfortunately sometimes we getting in an outrage culture, and this is like a minor thing to me. At the end of the day, it's like, prismatic facets. It was something I used in the beginning. I'm kind of like Skarrow now. I don't really have to use it. You just get all that stuff through gameplay, and now they're getting rid of it. So, people are upset that, okay, now they're introducing, I guess, the silver. But to me, that's even better. Like, can't you just direct purchase what you want? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really just want something, just go get it. So again, I don't have a problem when it's not gameplay breaking. These are cosmetics. Like, dude, I'm Iron Lord podcast. Damn well when that Lord's sigil emote came out I'm buying it. I don't care how y'all feel. Y'all can judge me, say, oh, I'm celebrating loot boxes. It's my money. I want to get it. So again, you have the option. And again, as long as it's not giving you a competitive advantage or doing anything that's going to break gameplay. And, let's be real. Like, what we're learning about this, in my opinion, is that there were some things that Activision probably got a lot of blame for that we're still seeing that this is still Bungie. So let's be real. Now we can't. Yeah, let's go.
At least we know where it's going now.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, man, look, they're on their own, right? Again, this is cosmetics. I have no problem supporting a studio that I love, that I've invested thousands upon thousands of hours. If I want to get my little, the little warm-up emote they got with the, what he had, the chicken and the fries, that new one that they got. Dude, I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to buy it. Like, again, so it's just an option. You don't have to do it. If you don't want to do it, it's cool and it's not game breaking. So I'm about supporting the studio that I like.
Hard to argue with that.
Yep.
I mean, I'm the same thing. It's like they're cosmetics. It's like, if you really don't want them, don't get them. If you really want to spend some money, and that's kind of the thing is, as long as most of the stuff from Eververse is still earnable in the bright engrams or whatever, then I'm honestly probably going to be fine. So the only difference is they said there are going to be certain cosmetics that are going to be in the bundles each week. And honestly, if those are more exclusive bundles, then hey, here's some shaders, a boon, and which is not a boon, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And then just the one thing you're buying. I'm like, if you put something better in there, then maybe you'll have a little more incentive to buy it. Because honestly, right now the bundles aren't that big of a deal, and at some point I might earn them anyway. So, but as you guys all said, it's going to Bungie now. It's your choice to support them. I've got however many hours between these two games. If I'm just like, screw it, I just want to spend $20 on this just because, Bungie, I'll give you a little extra love. Sure. Because I know it's going in their pockets, and they have $160 million to try and figure out how to pay. And this is one of those ways that they may do it. And I'm honestly okay with that, because if you don't want to do it, you are never forced, and it's not going to change your game.
Exactly. And there's
Agreed.
the last point is that there's some times with the prismatic facet that you miss out on certain things that you want, whether it be an ornament, like an exotic. I'm a big exotic ornament collector, kind of.
Yeah.
Especially when it's an exotic I like I really want specific ones. So yeah, it's like I said, if they have, my little vigilance wing, and how I want it or whatever, exotic armor, how I want it, I am picking it up and give me the option, man. So I'm good with that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was like, I know it was overhyped and stuff like that. This emote's just kind of hilarious, by the way.
It's really cool.
Just going through like all the things. All right, I'm ready to go. And you got ornaments for malfeasance over here, just a couple basic things. And, ghosts and ships and all that stuff. Is like, for me, the ships usually don't do it. Now, that one sparrow right here in the middle,
It's
right
so
about
sick, man.
there.
Warlock.
That one.
Ooh, that wings is
So cool.
One. That's the one you talk about. That's true.
And they confirmed on Twitter that we're getting an electric guitar emote, which is I play electric guitar. And so when we got the acoustic, I was, it was kind of like a tease because, I like play guitar on stream and have my guy playing in the background, like on the screen. And it's like, it's just not the same. But now it's the same. It's about to get real good. I'm excited.
Yeah, excited, man.
Nice. And then final piece, they did actually extend the time frame if you guys are looking for these big pins, which is good because people complain so much about the RNG. You have until August. You have until August 31st. Hence, they have some kind of date for a future piece of content post August. Maybe. But basically, that is all of year 2. But again, last time I saw a date of like, oh, this could be then, I was like, and March 5th. So, yep, you'll have plenty more time to do that. So eventually, at some point, I've actually got to start shooting some of these eggs that I make videos over every week. I literally make the videos and I'm like, hey, it's right down there, as opposed to just recording it. But yeah, they have some good bug fixes coming too. Guitars are supposed to get fixed for the Last Wish Petra's run, which thank God people got tired of that. Excuse me. Blind well matchmaking has actually been an issue off and on for a while, which is good. The Izanagi's burden having some issues, and just other certain things actually getting fixed with perks working properly. And come March 5th, this is going to be going live. So we've got a downtime that's going to be fairly short. The patch is going to start rolling out at 9 a.m. Pacific, so 11 a.m. And maintenance should conclude at 10 a.m. So you got about maybe an extra hour, maybe not, just depends on how fast. They usually sometimes finish it sooner, but might have an extra hour of downtime, but it's a new season. That's not too surprising.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to any of you guys looking to try and finish up anything else, whether it's Nightfall rank, Valor rank, Glory, Infamy, Clan. Prismatic matrices will be going away, so use them or lose them. And then the only thing that you are going to lose is ranks. And the only progress on any quests you are going to lose is if you need to hit a certain rank for any of these, quests that you're working on. The quests themselves will stay there. Whether it's, you're working on your breakneck or anything, your status will stay. So don't worry about any of that stuff. But if it says a rank in a season, that's your only piece.
Yeah.
I just want to address something really quickly. Silver Spear in Abontis' chat brought up a good point. He said, I thought they were going to find a way to make them easier to obtain, talking about the Dreaming City cosmetics and the Last Wish cosmetics. And they did say that they're revamping those drop rates as well for those things.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Yep. Hold on. Yeah. It was like, I know they're looking at that. They've mentioned it for sure. I don't know if
it is. It's right below. It's at the pin section. If you go back up, it's at the very bottom of it.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay.
Oh, maybe it's above it. I definitely read it here.
Some titles require the completion of destiny badges, which are dependent on earning every piece of gear from various destinations. We've been collecting feedback and currently working on a change to drop weights associated with vanity items in the Dreaming City and the Last Wish raid. Additionally, we are looking at Braytech weapon schematics, 1,000 voices. So they're looking at basically all the things that people cannot seem to get, and they're working on making it better. So, Braytech Osprey for the rocket launcher from Strange Terrain like this week may potentially be coming a little quicker. So, yeah, said Fred, if you don't finish Luna's Howl by Tuesday, you get to start that progress over. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've added some people to some teams. They got movies of the week. Shout out to True Vanguard and his 6 hammer throw kill, which was hilarious. and then a solo one-phase Insurrection Prime. I don't even know who it is, and the channel's actually not that big, but I bet it's about to get bigger.
Wait, how did this not get movie of the week?
Yeah.
Apparently, True Vanguard got it over this guy. Like, I don't know.
Nah, I don't know about all that now. I didn't watch this, but I'm gonna go watch it. And if it's
like
legit,
a 13-minute video. Like, I haven't watched it yet either. But
yeah,
just the fact that it's there, I'm like, that's impressive work. So
yeah, that probably should have been movie of the week. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I gotta watch them.
But that pretty much wraps it up, guys. So, this has been an insane week for everybody. So,
Yep.
It has been a lot of fun to kind of get hyped up again for something that I was actually pretty lackluster about. And honestly, like, I just don't have enough time.
Life is over. Oh, Destiny got the nerve to be good again.
Seriously, it's crazy. At the wrong moment too. Just when I thought I was gonna have time to play something else.
Yep.
But yeah, honestly, shout out Skarrow. Thank you for jumping in and dealing with my insane schedule today. But it's been a blast having you on. Thank you.
Oh,
sir.
It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for rocking with us. I know we tend to go long, but
Hey man, I've been active all the way to the end. I don't mind these long conversations. I live in this, you know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So it's good to have you appreciate it and still rock with us, man. And I know the schedule changed and the poor Bontes, he couldn't even, he couldn't control what was going on. So I'm still glad we were able to do it, man, because there was so much going on. The season of Drifter, so much news, and breakdowns, and it's exciting, man. This is exciting, man. So I'm hyped. I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? I'll be ready come, next week, and we're gonna hit that content running, man. It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely.
Well, Skarrow, feel free to shout out to everybody we got here in chat still. Just let them know where you're at, what you've been working on, and just kind of, anything you want to throw out there. This is your time. So go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm Skarrow9 on YouTube and at Skarrow9 on Twitter. I do all my live streams and all my videos over on YouTube. I can't top the intro that Lord gave me, but yeah, I do a lot of. You guys probably have seen my exotic ranking videos. They get way too big. I do 5 things you don't know about Destiny and all these big series and all that sort of thing. So if you're interested in learning more about the game that we all love to spend time in, check me out over there.
Nice. Great stuff, man. Great job. Love the content. Keep it coming, man.
Will do. You guys too, man. Carry on the legacy.
Thank you, bro. To get it from someone like you, it's an honor, sir.
Absolutely. We raise our cheetah paw and ninja hand.
Yes.
Here's my chicken egg.
You and Cade 6 would have got along really well.
Oh, heck yes, we would.
Cognito, you could wrap yours up as well. What do you got coming this week? Yeah. I know last week was big.
Yeah, last week was big, man. Shout out to everybody that came through. Episode 100, man, was out of control. 100 episodes of Iron Lord podcast and the other crazy lords that I host the show with. But yeah, man, it's 101. It's gonna be back. And with 100, obviously, we made the big announcement. We launched our website. It's lordsofgaming.net. So please check it out. We've got opinion pieces. We've got walkthroughs. Ibantis has a walkthrough up there. You know what I'm saying? Of his solo. What you call it? Not the Shattered, but the Ascendant Challenge. So yeah, man, check us out. We definitely try to get it into the media space, so it's really cool. This week, we will have another podcast guest, a little podcast invasion. We'll have the 4 Guys with Quarters, a great podcast. We will be on Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern on the Iron Lord Podcast YouTube channel. Please check us out. As you already know, ILP YouTube also hosts the Last Word podcast with my man Ibantes. You know, so we're talking that looter shooter talk, and we got a lot of content also coming, man. King right now, he's doing this thing called the King of Statues. That's every Wednesday at 7 a.m. He puts them out, and pretty much this man goes through his man cave of like 1x10 scale Marvel statues, and they're amazing. Like I don't know how he has all these statues. They're pretty amazing. So check that out. Like I said, check out the Iron Lord Podcast YouTube channel when you can. And this Sunday will be a fun show. We're going to talk a lot about what's going on. Rumors of Borderlands being possibly announced at PAX. Halo Infinite reboot. We're going to talk a little looter shooter stuff as well. So please check us out and support if you have a chance.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And then me, if you guys don't know me, I'd be surprised by now because we say this every week. But you guys know where to find me. It's youtube.com/Ebontis. If you guys aren't watching me on Twitch and you guys are over on Iron Lord's podcast, it's Ebontis everywhere. Nice thing about having a weird name, it's yours. So EBONTIS. If you Google it, you'll find me pretty much everywhere I'm at. And I have a piece for some of you guys that are watching. I got honored enough to be a guest coming up on Destiny Community Podcast. So
good job, dude. Nice.
DC.
So that will be on Thursday, March 7th. And being as they all have their face cameras and stuff, that's going to be my reveal is on there.
Oh, we get the face. Woo!
Face is going to be live finally. So I actually probably got to shave up for that one, maybe get a haircut, the basic stuff.
Sexy.
Get a nice bow tie,
Oh my God. I don't even know what they would do. So that one is going to be a lot of fun talking with those guys. It's going to be really cool just because, they're big people in the community and just hats off to all of them. They're all really cool and they have their own pieces to them. So I'm just very honored to have a chance to get in there. So that one is really cool. And then outside of that, I have another thing coming up, potentially that I can't really say too much about. So just stay tuned. Let's just say you might see me in some different places. And then other than that, that's pretty much all I got. So just stay tuned. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, that is probably the best place as well outside of YouTube. I do try and post up on my community feed, but yeah, DCP next week. Come on, guys, hype it up in there next week. I want to see all you guys in there. So DCP live Thursday night, pretty much right now, but yesterday.
Yes, yo, I'm not gonna let you speed past that. Like, that's a big deal, you know what I'm saying? And to see your growth and to see you to continue with the consistency, it's really, really cool, And like I said, Skarrow, if you don't know the history, my first Guardian Con is when I actually met Ebontis in the flesh. And I was like, this kid knows his destiny, man. Like, we would just talked and we chopped it up. And just to see his progression and to be on DCP, which is one of my favorites, podcasts in the Destiny space, I'm gonna be like a proud dad. I'm sitting there with my feet up. Oh, he made it.
Yeah, knock it out of the park, dude. Congrats for sure.
I hope so. I'm honestly just getting me nervous talking to all those guys out there. So it's one of those things that'll be very, very much. I'll just be trying not to blush and be humbled the whole time. So it's gonna be crazy.
All those guys, great group of guys. Everybody knows them. You know what I mean? So it's just
seriously, yeah. It's like they're all awesome.
Yeah, to see you recognized is really cool. So definitely gonna be there, front row, camera. Go get them.
Yeah. So I got my Elgato key light, Elgato green screen. I'm all set up. So yep, we're ready. So that is next week. So yeah, Thursday. As soon as it comes up on Twitter, I'm gonna be copying, putting that everywhere. So I'm waiting for Pope to send that thing out. But yeah, he said it at the end of chat, so we actually said it out there. But yeah, waiting for the picture. I'm honestly waiting because the artist who does all of their work, Ash.
Oh yeah.
I'm honestly just waiting to see what she does because between the cheetah and so there's one thing that Skarrow, you may not know. There's been some comments on my channel, and it's kind of one of those things that's been a joke. Most people have said during my videos and stuff that I'm always like very calm and collected during like chaos. And then somebody basically said they like thought I was kind of like the Bob Ross of Destiny.
Oh.
So there's kind of a joke going in there. So I have like a couple different things I was trying to figure out. I'm working with her to figure out what to do, but that's kind of like a joke, and I've kind of stuck with it. It's like one of those that it makes some sense, but it's been kind of crazy. So we'll see. But yeah, I was like, I've had that comment like more than once on very far separate occasions, and it just made me. And also one was like ASMR. I'm like, I can't stand my own voice, but if you guys like it, cool. It's one of those where like nobody can stand their own voice. So. And shout out to Havoc, guys, by the way, recently, just another tier 1 sub gifted to the Iron Lords podcast. So guess what? You are now a sub to my channel. You should have done that first, but that's on you. I'm just kidding. But shout out to Havoc recently, huge supporter of the channel, gifting subs basically to everybody out there. So huge love out there to Havoc in my super chat. But yeah, it's Ebontis everywhere. Big one, guys. Skarrow, you have been amazing. So I just want to shout out to you and say thank you for being here. Yes. It's an insanely overly long flashpoint. But I will go ahead and say this is Ebontis and Cognito and Skarrow. And Skarrow, let's give you the last word tonight. Say it out.
Boom. Thanks for hanging out with us. And it's been the last word.
Peace.
Peace.